goodness, we are back. Good to see everybody. Good to be seen. Sorry I missed you on Friday. I owe you guys one. Had some family stuff come up kind of late Thursday night. Thought it would be done with. And we had a show prepared. And then, like, I don't know, 30 minutes before, I just decided to call it. So I apologize. I owe you guys one. I'll be in a really good mood on date night this weekend just to make up for it, if that helps at all. Also want to let you know, and we'll remind you throughout the show today, that for members only, we have members only events, and we just got done watching that the Mormon dating show, The Altar, which was horrific. I never want to watch that show ever again. But we've got a new series that I'll announce later this week, starting Monday. So make sure you're a paid subscriber, and you can join us next Monday as we start a new series. Not going to be as funny, but it's going to be really interesting. Who won? We all lost. That's who won. Who did? What was the? I forget her name. Who was there? What was the girl who won? She was awesome. She was there playing the game. She was the only like non-Mormon there. She was the only one giving real honest answers. I can't remember her name. Spit out my gum there. All right. Well, Jen is here. Mods are here. Everybody's here. How was your week? How was your guys' weekend? Nothing weird out of this administration. Totally normal weekend in America. I don't think I looked at my phone on Friday or Saturday. I don't think I really looked at my phone until Sunday, and I was like, "Fuck, that's not good." She did. Brooklyn was her name. That's right. And there's like this at the end of it. You can like keep the prize and share it, or you can steal it. And she just stole it, and that was the best way for that thing to end. Naked Portland protesters made it a little better. I can't show it, but if you don't know, a bunch of people showed up on bikes, fully nude in Portland, which is fine. I remember I lived in Oregon for a little bit. I lived outside of Medford in a town called Phoenix. And I don't even remember where we were at. It wasn't Medford. I have no idea where. We went and there was a parade. And I was coming from Utah. This had to have been 2000. Oh, I don't know. 2010. I think this was like summer of 2010. Or I guess fall of 2010, and they had this parade, and everybody was just like naked and smoking weed, and I was like, "What? Like, where the fuck am I?" It wasn't in Portland. It might have been in. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe it was Medford. I feel like it wasn't Medford, but I just remember being first alarmed that there were naked people and that everybody was smoking weed, and then secondly that the cops were just like watching it happen. And then I realized at that point, Oregon is a very different state than the rest of the states. Yeah, you know what? It might have been Eugene. Because it was small. How far is that from Medford? Is that within an hour of Medford? Could have been the country fair. That's the country fairs where I come from are a little bit different. Let me see where I was. I'm gonna look it up on the map. I feel like is there a college town right there? Is Corvallis close by? Where were we? Where would I have been, gang? You know, it might have been Eugene. I'm looking on the map. There's like nothing close. Eugene, probably. It was probably Eugene. I don't remember. I don't think I smoked back then. I think I was pretty drunk on that day. It was like a Saturday or Sunday morning. We weren't working. We went out there. Anyways, good job. Good job, Portland. Good job, Oregon. Show up and make people uncomfortable. I saw this morning. It doesn't really matter at all. I just saw. I'm in a cab kind of mood this morning. This was on CBS News. There was a stolen vehicle chase.
CHP's policy is all or nothing. It's theirs or not. Right. So they don't want Riverside to get in it, but they want them to kind of be in the area.
Whoa, Oh my gosh. Oh, the officer took that one just a little bit too quickly there.
I don't know why I laughed at it. I know this has probably nothing to do with them, but come on, bro. What kind of turn was that? Where are you going? You just stopped going. You stopped turning. I don't know where he thought he was going. Game over for that guy in Los Angeles. So a cab can't even fucking drive. I just wanted to show that. That was just petty. Republicans are freaking out about everything, specifically Muslims. They get really annoyed. I don't know who this person is. MAGA Mama 5 here. She thought she was going to go viral for this video. She thought she was going to scare the other MAGA Mama 5s. Just want you to know, this is what they're afraid of now.
We're in Dearborn. This is the call of prayer that goes off 5 times a day here in the United States.
She put on her very best aviators. And just, you didn't know what to say. She just wants you guys to be as outraged as she is, but she can't really explain it.
Would you like to hear this blasting through your neighborhood? They don't have a choice of whether they hear this or not.
Oh, that's a very sad thing. It's a whole video. That's how much she had to say. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I don't find. Some of you say it's beautiful. I don't find it would bother me too, but not because of who's in there. It would just bother me that was playing all the time. I wouldn't like any prayer broadcast that loudly, but I understand that that's part of their culture, so it's fine. But she just sits there angry. This last 10 seconds just.
They don't have a choice of whether they hear this or not.
She has no real problems in her life. None. So she just got in her car. I'm going to guess it's some sort of SUV. Rolled out here, stood in the parking lot, and thought, this is my patriotic duty. I'm going to stand here without a thought, an original thought at all. Look at this, guys. Would you look at this? The rest of her video went on about how big the mosque was. Is that what? You guys remember that I Am America? Is it what it was? Not I Am America. That's Stephen Colbert's book. The Sacha Baron Cohen, when he went to Flagstaff and he told him he was going to build a mosque. I'm just going to pull it up, actually. I don't know. We'll get copyright strike. Probably. Let's just see. Do you know what I'm talking about? Not Flagstaff. It was... where was that? It's driven through that damn place a million times. Brain is blanking. Here it is.
Tell me about your dream mosque.
There is no dream mosque. We don't want a mosque.
Who wants to see huge economic growth here?
Everybody.
Right. Who wants to see an investment of $385 million? I'm here to tell you that Kingman has been chosen as the location of a brand new, state-of-the-art mosque.
What? State-of-the-art what?
I know some of you are thinking, okay, this is just another typical mosque. This, guys, is going to be the world's largest mosque outside of the Middle East.
Just the word alone scares you. To me, when I hear the word mosque, I think of terrorism.
Yeah.
Is there a need for this in Kingman?
Yes, there is.
How?
Why?
How?
What?
Your town will become a hub for tourism for Muslims around the world. Can I get a whoop whoop?
No.
No.
We don't want that shit here.
You bring in Muslims, we might have problems. We probably will have problems.
We'll all be moving out of this state.
Okay, let's, before we make up our minds, let's take a closer look at this wonderful mosque.
We made up our minds.
The Imam Zayed Wahhabi Mosque of Kingman. You guys will have the choice between two different designs. This is the first design. This is design 1. And this is design 2. So who here supports design 1?
Nobody.
Okay, so you're all for design 2.
Neither.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen that. At one point, one of the guys, that angry guy with the goatee, they bring up Muslim people, and he's like, "You're lucky we even let black people in here." You should go watch it. YouTube doesn't ban that, by the way. I'll just get copyright striked on YouTube because I think HBO probably owns that. I think that's who put that out. But you can go watch that. It's called what is that called? Who is America is what it's called. It was a whole series. It's unbelievable. And it's unfucking believable. But it just gave me that. Amy Lynn said prayer is very scary. It's very scary. Brian said, yeah, it's those most annoying is those damn church bells that go off every day. I've never lived somewhere where there was church bells, but that's a good comparison there. Burned Out said, keep on keeping on. Thank you very much, guys. Remember, we are crowdfunded, so if you can help us out today as we go through today's live stream, all the links are up there in the corner, and I'll read damn near anything you write, which is a bad deal that I made with you guys a long time ago, but we do it anyways. Welcome everybody over on TikTok. Make sure you're liking the live.
What's striking is they're doing this in broad daylight.
What the world was that? I don't know how I did that. Share it out with your friends. We are not restricted yet, but we soon will be. Let's moving on here. All right. This is a real post that you guys can help me out with this. This is a real post that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement put out. Said, Portland, not all outside our facility are violent. Thank you. This is AI, right? Like, do you see how, I don't know if you guys can zoom in. Can I zoom in here? I think when I'm live, it doesn't let me zoom in. Like this finger, I don't understand how this finger is backwards here. I'm almost certain that this is AI generated. None of this looks right. Does it say AI on it? Let's see. 92% probability of being AI generated. The location does exist in Portland, but the image does not engender authenticity simply due to a location's existence. It is AI generated. Just look at the shadow behind the person. What shadow? There's no shadow. Oh, I guess there should be a shadow. Yeah, there's no shadow there. Okay. And the left arm is incompletely rendered. Yeah. Look at that. I just noticed this. Also note the unnatural fingering when holding the sign. I don't know. My finger doesn't do that. I don't, unless you can really twist your arm around. I don't know how your bicep would be facing forward. I don't know how you do that. But that's what they did. They used actual AI to fake. And again, this is U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They put up an AI generated image to pretend that they had like support over there in Portland. That's how bad things are getting. They can't even get people to show up and support them. You keep your fingers to yourself. If you're going to finger something, don't do it unnaturally. I think that's what we learned today. If you're going to finger something naturally, finger that something, not unnaturally. Can we have a demonstration of unnatural fingering? Yeah, well, I don't know. Unnatural? I don't know. No, we can't. I shouldn't do that. Jen will get mad at me. Just can't. I think that would be unnatural, probably. Just get him with the hunting. What do you call that? Hunting and pecking? Did you guys call it hunting and pecking? So I had this teacher named Mr. Asbury who taught us how to type, and they called that hunting and pecking. We also had to learn. Did you guys do that? I don't know how old you guys are, but in elementary school, we had to learn about computers. And I think I've told this story before, but they had to. He'd explain the difference between input and output, and he would just name things, and we would all go. He would go, keyboard input, keyboard input, monitor output, monitor output. No hunting and pecking because you just couldn't. That would be an unnatural fingering. That helps at all. My dad types that way, and my dad, he also is missing part of his finger, so he's like finger on one and then nub on the other, and he just is nubbing it to death, and it makes a different sound when it hits the keyboard. I used to die watching him like type up invoices because it can only do it with, I guess, 1 3/4 fingers. We make fun of him all the time. There were no computers when you went to high school, and I also learned to type on a manual typewriter. Good Lord. How are you still alive? People are still alive. You came from that age. Good for you. You're really hanging in there. You're welcome for sharing. Yes. I have great news. The TikTok chat merged with the regular chat today. I don't have to open multiple windows. Shout out Streamlabs for getting some shit together today. All right. I just saw this with this clip from Obama. I'm not like Obama's not having a great time right now. I think any president in this country is never going to age well. Like your presidency doesn't age well unless you're like Jimmy Carter, who, unless you're completely hated at the time for being too kind, it probably doesn't age well. But he sat down with Mark Maron, who apparently is giving up podcasting. That seems to be a theme in podcasting right now. I saw Bert Kreischer is talking about giving it up. A lot of these comedians are talking about giving it up. And I think like there just is as somebody who's doing a podcast right now, there's an oversaturation of podcasts. But what Obama said here, I thought was, I don't know if it's important, but interesting.
So much of our...
Oh, sorry. Kurt said, happy fuck Donald J. Trump week. Amy said, ICE arrested 2 opposition from the M people and police arrested 1, not Portlanders. Thank you.
Culture now. So much of what we teach our kids is geared around buying stuff and having stuff and posting it on Instagram and then...
Right, it's winning to some people.
Right, winning is now defined solely by material goods, how much you got, and to some degree fame. That's become another currency, right?
Right.
And I do think part of what our conversation needs to be more about is, and it used to come out of the church or the stories we told our kids, was this sense of, oh, you know what, character matters, honesty matters, community and family and loyalty and kindness matters.
I've been thinking about that a lot this weekend. I took the weekend off, and I just have to be honest. Getting off of my phone, not going on TikTok, not going on Twitter. It was a different weekend. And I do think that, like, I don't know how we fix this. I don't know how we change this. I think to some extent, it's just going to take a lot of pain. If you look back at American history, and I've gone back looking at American Nazism and Nazism in Germany, and also fascism in Italy, and I've been looking at like the material conditions that were there that allowed like a fascist to take over. And what's kind of alarming to me right now is that we don't have those material conditions, but millions of Americans are convinced that like we're in that same place. And I think that has to do with the fact, like, even just like being able to put up AI generated images. I saw today that Pinterest isn't allowing AI images now, and I think that's actually probably a good start. But you look at the stuff that makes most of us mad and affects most of us day to day. That stuff is coming from our view into the world that comes via an algorithm. And I just got to say, like, my algorithm doesn't talk a lot about like how to be happy. My algorithm is mostly trying to make me upset or worried about something. I thought about that all weekend, and I thought about that with just this show. And like, is it a net positive or not? I don't know. I just I needed Obama saying this morning. And the reason I wanted to show it is, and the reason I prefaced it with like Obama's presidency doesn't age well, is I think that's something that we do in America. We're able to go back with 20/20 vision and revisit somebody's presidency and analyze it. But one of the things that we don't do very well is analyze the conditions at the time and give a little bit of grace for people who maybe didn't have the same information we have now, or the same push from the population that we have now. And it seems to me that America is this big, bloated, rich country, and we don't really have the same problems that other countries have. Our problems are mostly self-inflicted. Our problems are mostly just, I think, a lot politicians consistently trying to divide, and an algorithm from Facebook, from TikTok, from Twitter, that are all competing for our interest and our attention. And I think that I think that America is I want to say soulless. Does it feel soulless to you guys? It feels soulless to me. America doesn't seem to have like an identity. We don't seem to really have values. We just seem to like be obsessed with going to war with each other. And it's a really fucking weird line to try and not cross, because on the one hand, I don't really want to be part of that. On the other hand, we have fascists. And the one thing I've learned from all the research I've been doing on Italy and Germany and then the Nazi Party here in America is that appeasement is how all of these fascist movements were able to take hold of a country and eventually destroy a country. So it's this weird time right now where I feel like it's like a starting over. Like America's going to start over. Wherever we go, like what we had, the America that you grew up with, that's over. We're either going to go and we're going to be fascist, or we're going to take a hard shift in rejecting fascism. And I'm not really sure, honestly, where we're going. But just hearing Obama and thinking back to those times, like I was working on the Romney campaign at the time. I was in college when he was running against McCain. Like I just missed the time when we could disagree about policy. It wasn't always personal attacks. It wasn't always hyperbolic. And yet we're stuck. We're absolutely stuck in this situation, and like you can't pretend that it's not happening. Right? Like during the Obama presidency, I know there were the right wing like lunatics. They would come out and they would accuse Obama of everything. And then that morphed into QAnon, where Hillary Clinton was like running a trafficking organization, trafficking children. But all that stuff was on the fringe. And now it's not. Like now it's actually mainstream. And you have a whole Republican movement. There's two different groups in the Republican movement. You have the ones that believe all that shit and they're fighting for that. And you have the ones that are ignoring it. And the ones that are ignoring it, I think perhaps is where we need to focus our attention. But they're also the ones that, as I look back in Italy and Germany, those are the people that allowed all of these things to happen, the apathetic people. And so I really do think like the America that we used to have is dead. It's not lost on me that if you guys know, going into World War II, in America, we had massive, massive movements that were very similar to the Nazi movement. We had an American Nazi Party. We had Nazi youth. We were talking about like fitness and loyalty and patriotism. All of these things meant to indoctrinate kids into a certain ideology. And what happened after World War II? It's a radical shift. We had a radical shift towards the left. We had a radical shift towards helping people that the fascists didn't want to help. We had a radical shift towards equality. And I think like whenever this ends, that's how it goes, unless Trump's able to just like do fascism the whole time. If he's able to get like a Vladimir Putin movement and he gets all of his generals around him and he's able to collect all of these industry people and he's able to collect the church and he's able to move forward with fascism, then we wind up at Russia. The problem is like Donald Trump's a fucking idiot. So for you guys who like you want to go that way, you should have rallied around somebody more like Putin. And by the way, JD Vance isn't any better. He's not good at this. Vladimir Putin was trained his entire life to like operate in the shadows, to publicly be strong facing, to be very careful with the words that he used. That's how he was able to do what he did in Russia without the Russians really noticing. Donald Trump's a fucking blowhard. He's going to talk nonstop, and JD Vance melts every time you put a camera in front of him. So I don't think it's going to work for you guys. You chose the wrong horse. I think you jumped the gun here. And the material conditions here in America aren't the same as they were in Germany. In Germany, you had a country that was decimated post-World War I. The whole world basically told Germany, get fucked, dude. We're in charge now. Like, you got to get rid of your whole military. And so Hitler was able to kind of rally the people around like, hey, the whole world is telling us that we are nothing, that we're the bad guys, that we can't even protect ourselves, that we can't even have a military. And everybody was poor. And he started saying like, hey, we're going to do things to help all of you. That's where we're at right now with Trump. Trump ran on, hey, I'm going to help you. He hasn't done shit for any of you because he can't. Not because he doesn't want to. I just want to be clear on that. I do think that Trump, if he could help all of us, if he could help his voters and he could put them on a more sure footing, he would. He can't. And it's not because of the Democrats in Congress. It's not because of the Republicans in Congress. It's because nobody on that side has a single good idea. So they're just going to keep doubling down and blaming Democrats, and that's going to get old. Eventually, enough people are going to be like, all right, but blaming Democrats isn't a plan. We're going to need a plan.
Those are the stories that's part of our political project, right? Is reaffirming that stuff. I mean, I think you were asking how I navigated some of these.
He said Trump got another booster.
These conflicts, and I'd get attacked from the right, and I'd get attacked from the left. One way I did that was trying to.
Our government is shut down right now. First of all, Jamie, let me answer that. He doesn't want to help his voters. I don't think he gives a fuck about his voters, but he knows that if his voters are happy, it's better for him. To answer why is the government shut down? Because Congress won't agree on anything. That's why. If you are a person who's like, it's the Republicans, it's not. It's the reality is like zoom out a little bit. Just zoom out. Don't focus on Republicans, Democrats. Zoom out. Our government is supposed to operate. Our government's supposed to pay the bills. They're not. Why is our government shut down? Because they can't negotiate with each other. They are so broken and they are so dedicated to one side or the other that it's completely dysfunctional. Now, do I agree with what the Democrats are doing? Yeah. It's their only leverage. It's their only shot to try and get funding back for poor people. So there's an argument in our government on whether or not we're going to help poor people or not, and the Democrats seem to think it is worth shutting down the government to try and negotiate to get that Medicare funding or Medicaid funding restored and the ACA subsidies restored. And Republicans say it's worth it to shut down the government to not restore those benefits. That's why it's shut down. Let's be real honest. It's shut down right now because of ACA subsidies and Medicaid funding. And one side says that we don't need it, and the other side says we do need it. And they can't find any middle ground. They have no ability to find a middle ground there. That's why we're shut down. You can blame whoever you want, but like it's all of them. But those are the positions. There's no way to get around that. The position is, do we want to restore ACA subsidies so that people's health insurance doesn't double? Do we want to restore this Medicaid funding so that hospitals don't shut down? Or do we not? Republicans are, we do not. Democrats are, we do. So whatever moral like equivalency you want to draw there, however you want to draw the lines and take a side there, that's what they're arguing about. So you can play Republicans versus Democrats if you want, but that's like it's just a dumb way to assess what's happening right now. You're going to start seeing like you're picking off Republicans, by the way. Marjorie Taylor Greene is moving. And all these people that have to hear from their constituents, they're going to move. People aren't going to ignore the fact that their health insurance premiums double. We're going to get to this in a little bit. Let me finish with Obama. But like Democrats, I think, are winning this messaging battle. And I hate that we even have this government shutdown. I hate that you have to shut down the government to get the government to pay for health care for people who can't afford it. But that's where we're at.
Tell people what I really thought. But, you know, the other thing was I actually had some pretty old-fashioned values, even if I had, you know, progressive or newfangled ideas.
Yeah.
You know, if I talked about trans issues, I wasn't talking down to people and saying, "Oh, you're a bigot." I'd say, "You know what? It's tough enough being a teenager. Let's treat all kids."
Guys, I'm being accused of being a Soros plant here, so get out your bingo cards. I'll play some CNN and MSNBC clips later, but there's the first I'm a Soros plant. Go ahead and mark that on your bingo cards today.
Decently. Why would we want to see kids bullied?
Or shamed.
You said
why
Trump's
would we want to do that? Why wouldn't we want to just, you know, what if it was our kid?
Yeah.
Right?
Hold on. Trump's live real quick. Middle East. Let me see what he's saying, and then we'll get back to this.
It's great to be with you. Always there. When I need him, he's always there. Thank you very much.
When you need me, call me, no matter where you
And
are.
I also want to thank, I just spoke to him on the phone, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed, Saudi Arabia, a special friend of mine. Boy, he's come so long and so far, and he's doing a fantastic job for his country. And I want to just thank him. And, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed of the United Arab Emirates is here. Where? He's here somewhere. Well, oh, he's not here, but he's here in spirit. I can tell you that. And he's been another one. He's been absolutely incredible, and we appreciate it very much.
Davey said, read pro WRA of 1996. Clinton signed law, so undocumented get nothing.
His Majesty
Thank you.
King Abdullah of Jordan, and thank you very much, King Abdul of Jordan. He's here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you really have been a great helper. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. Prime Minister.
Can we get
Sharif
through that?
of Pakistan. And also, I have to say, my favorite field marshal from Pakistan, who's not here, but the Prime Minister is here, and you're going to give his regards. Where are you? There you go. Thank you very much. You want to say what you said to me the other day? Come, would you like to say what you said the other day? I think it was so nice. Please.
Thank you very much, my dear President Trump, my dear brother, President.
All right, I don't know. Let me know if he says something interesting. I could give a fuck. Let's go back to Obama. I don't care. Trump has lost his mind. Well, how are you guys watching that? If you're MAGA and watch, how do you ever watch Trump be like, this guy's got it together?
And I think spending more time talking about why those values are important, not being cynical about them, not being ironic about it.
Yeah.
But saying, no, that stuff matters.
Sure.
That would make a difference.
All right. Well, we've got our work cut out for us.
Yeah. You know what? I think we're going to be okay. And I think that part of the reason you had such a big fan base during this 16-year run is there was a core decency to you and the conversations you had, maybe slightly edited by Brendan.
Yeah, thankfully.
that I think speaks to who we are. And we can't take this stuff for granted. But my experience is most people are really decent.
Well,
and I think that's why when they hear somebody else who is, it gives them courage, and gives them hope, and you should be proud of having done that.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and
I don't know. Like, there was nothing that poignant about that interview other than just like the tone. It was refreshing to have a different tone. It was refreshing to hear people speak about America in the way that I think like I've seen America. Those of you who live in like a purple state, or if you're a blue dot in a red state, like most of these people, they didn't hold a lot of these opinions before Donald Trump. They seem to only hold these opinions now because of Donald Trump. But there was a time when like these were good, decent people, and we could laugh about like who we voted for. And I think what's hard is the way that we do this both sides argument. Like, I still can't believe that there's people out there that think that Joe Biden was like evil, and that Joe Biden was like this dangerous I don't know. I'm shocked that people hate Joe Biden, if we're being honest. I don't know how you get yourself to the level of hatred for Joe Biden. I understand not liking Joe Biden. I understand thinking he was a bad president. I understand thinking he's feckless, perhaps maybe spineless on some things. I think that he catered far too much to corporations. But when I see Republicans, MAGA specifically, that are like, I fucking hate Joe Biden, I think that you're just like waiting on somebody to hate. That seemed to be what it was with Obama too. And I like Donald Trump is a hateable person. We have to be really like, I don't know how to actually get that out there. Like, I don't know how to necessarily always say this to my Republican friends. I think this is the dilemma that a lot of us are up against, is that this isn't normal. Donald Trump isn't normal. The way he speaks, the way he acts, the way he directs people to, he directs his supporters to attack. It's not normal. Donald Trump gets the hatred, the attacks, the vilification that he deserves. Those are natural responses to what he does. But these people that Republicans hate right now, you've never heard of them. You don't know who they are. Like, if I say the name Letitia James, MAGA will freak the fuck out. Oh, I hate that bitch. That's what they'll all say. Why do you hate Letitia James? You don't know. You have no idea why you hate Letitia James. You have no idea why you hate any of these people. You can't even give me a coherent reason why you hate Joe Biden. When we try and talk about Joe Biden, it's like, oh, Joe Biden was a communist. Was he? Biden crime family. Was it? Was there a Biden crime family? Did he make any money? I understand disliking a politician for their views. But what happens is, like, when you throw somebody in there that's such like an obvious piece of shit, it moves the bar. There's no bar anymore. It becomes both sides. It becomes whataboutism. Donald Trump is by far and away the most corrupt politician ever to enter office in any like, I don't know any other politician more corrupt than him. Can you guys think of somebody more corrupt than Donald Trump? Somebody who's used his office to benefit himself more than Donald Trump? I can't think of any. And that's where we're at right now, is that people in America, like, life is easy in America. Most of us, especially if you look like me, we don't have like real problems. They're coming. They're on the horizon. But most of what you have, most of your hatred towards people on the left is just like angst. You don't like that Donald Trump gets criticized all the time. And so you think like everything's fair. And we've lost the ability in America to like weigh two different things and see them as different. Donald Trump is a convicted felon. I don't know how to make that more serious. He's convicted of multiple felonies, and after he was convicted, he won an election. The only politicians that I can think of in world history that are similar to that, like, that's what Hitler did. That's what Mussolini did. These lawless folks become more popular the more lawless they are. Every time Donald Trump does something blatantly illegal, you guys like him more. Let me look at the chat. See who do you guys think is worse than Obama? Or I mean Trump. I see Obama. Okay, tell me. You've been in here crying a lot today. Tell me what Obama did that's corrupt. Give me. I want to see Clinton's. Tell me how the Clintons are more corrupt. Clintons who have bodies attached to their name. So does Trump. Trump has bodies attached to his name. If you're going to make these links between Clinton and the people that died, you have to make those same links with Trump. Only Trump made way more money off of doing it too. Like who? Let's just talk about Trump's corruption. Donald Trump tried to overthrow the government. Donald Trump sat by and watched while his followers attacked the government on January 6th with a stated goal, by the way, of having the electors sent back to the states and overturning the election. There was an actual plan in place, but it required Mike Pence doing something unconstitutional. And then they had all these electors in these other states, these fake set of electors. They were going to send it back to the states and then return those fake sets of electors. I don't know if it would have worked, but there was a real plan. And so Donald Trump wanted that pressure campaign to continue going, so he didn't call in the National Guard, which, by the way, now all of you know. All of you now know that Donald Trump could have called in the National Guard that entire time. You all know that. You know why you know that? Because he did it in D.C. already. Since he's been president, he called in the National Guard, and he sent them into D.C. So Donald Trump allowed an attempted overthrow of the government to happen, and then he pardoned all of those people who tried to overthrow the government and had wrote down a plan. Like you can, the Proud Boys had a written down plan. It was called Operation Winter. What was it? Winter. I don't know. Winter Palace. I think it was. It's Operation Winter Palace. It was written down. They were tried and convicted for seditious conspiracy. All the things you guys talk about, sedition, conspiracy, treason, all those things like going against the United States, they were tried and convicted for those crimes, and then Donald Trump pardoned them. And then after that, he was held civilly liable for defamation and also also sexual abuse. Then he was held civilly liable for other financial crimes. Then he was held criminally guilty for what was it, 30-something counts of fraud. He was going to lose the Mar-a-Lago case because he definitely he had willful retention of classified documents, which no other president has done. No other vice president has done. He's the only president in history to be told by the FBI, you have to give those documents back to NARA. And he's like, no. He's the only one ever. And when we bring that up, you guys go, Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't do that. Only one president ever has stolen documents and refused to give them back and had to be raided to give them back. That's only happened one time in history. He's the only one. And he got more popular. This is why like I'm fascinated currently by the rise of Hitler in Germany, because holy fucking shit, it's close to the same thing. It's close to the same. Hitler was kind of like this guy when he was running. You know what? They mocked him openly when he was first running. And they said this is like a fringe lunatic candidate. He wrote this weird manifesto while he was in prison that nobody gave a fuck about. They couldn't even sell it. Then he tried to stage an insurrection. That failed. Then he tried to stage a bigger insurrection. That one failed too. And they sent him to prison. And then they just let him out. And they let him out because there were all these people that loved him. And when he got let out of prison, he became an even bigger hero. And then he told the German people that the reason that the German people were suffering is because of immigrants and because of foreign countries who were unfair in their trade practices and unfair in their sanctions against Germany. And then he rose to power. And as he became more and more insane, as he was like not even a functioning, he was publicly a drug addict. Everybody, like, you can go back, you can read these stories in German newspapers before these people were thrown into prison and eventually murdered. But like they're like, what are we doing, guys? This guy is just doing drugs and screaming about like killing people. He just went with it. Like, no, it's just he does that. It's locker room talk. He just says things. He doesn't always mean it. He's joking. He's hyperbolic, I know. And then he just slowly starts invading other countries. And then we just appeased him. Chamberlain's like, he won't really do it. You're going to stop, right? He's like, yeah, I'll stop. Just like Trump's doing. By the way, one more time to make it clear that like Trump is just this like Temu version of every fascist, is that Trump is doing two things at once. He's trying to be a fascist while also appeasing other fascists. He's Neville Chamberlain and brain injury Hitler at the same time. He's doing both. He's trying to be a fascist, but then like to Putin, to Xi, to Netanyahu, he's just like appeasing them. Like, guys, please stop. They're like, okay, we'll stop for sure. And then they just keep bombing. He's like, I didn't like that. He's the dumbest version of all of them. And what do we get for it here in America? We have to show up. I have to show up every day and convince a bunch of Republicans that the shit that's happening right in front of their face is actually happening. And that it's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Obama's fault. It's not Democrats' fault. They have no ability to fix any of this. So every day we have to show up and convince you guys that reality is reality. That sucks. R is still here? You're sure? Well, then leave, R. Do you need help? Do you need help getting out of here, R? By the way, anybody who disagrees with me, you're welcome to come up here and talk to me about it. You'll notice if you see the Venmo username, JenDub1 there, that's also the username for Discord. You can add Jen on Discord. You can come up and you can watch this. But yeah, R, you can take off. If you need help getting out of here, we can help you. I know that technology is probably difficult for you. We have this too. This is just one more example of how we're getting played. Pete Hegseth, a man who is known for saying, I want to kill all Muslims. I want you to notice his face while he's while he's announcing this. This came out on Friday. We didn't cover it because I wasn't here. But I don't think Pete Hegseth is very excited about this announcement.
No one other than President Trump could have achieved the peace that we believe will be a lasting peace in Gaza. And Qatar played a substantial role from the beginning, working with our folks to ensure that came about. So I want to thank you for that historic peace. We look forward to joining the president.
Guys, somebody, we're gonna take R and just remove R. You can actually just mute him. Just don't let R comment. Make him stay here and not be able to comment. That's better.
As that gets, it's already been delivered, but as that's formally signed as well. And I'm also proud that today we're announcing, we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be...
Have you ever seen Pete Hegseth so low energy about anything? Have you ever seen him more low energy about anything in his life? He hates this. He fucking hates this. This is Qatar bribing Trump, and now hate all Muslims guy is like, oh, now people from the Middle East here. Oh, I hate this so much.
Host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability. It's just another example of our partnership. And I hope you know, Your Excellency, that you can count on us. No one other.
All right. Here's a. So we have announced. Here's what I believe is happening. I just think that the Qataris have bribed Trump enough. Now they want to come here. You could be conspiratorial and say that the Qataris have a plan to infiltrate America. That sounds like a right-wing talking point. I wouldn't say that. I think that this is a protection racket. I think that the reason that Qatar has been giving Donald Trump so much money is because we have the world's largest military. And now Trump is taking those bribes that he gets the benefits for personally, and he's using your land, folks, and you, MAGA land in Idaho. He's using your land and the military that you love so much to give them a benefit for all the money that they've been giving him. Pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. Big Boat, you're too dumb to get money from somebody. Sorry, bud. It's not going to happen. Now he loves it. Now Big Boat wants the Qataris here. Just keep giving Trump money. I wish I was Donald Trump. Here's JD Vance asked about this. Now, remember, we just watched Pete Hegseth announce that they were going to put Qataris in Idaho on a military base, and that they were going to have their own military base that they could build up. A training facility. Let's call it a training facility on United States soil at a United States military base. And now watch JD Vance just tell you that don't believe your lying eyes.
What is the function of this Qatar facility? People are wondering, is this an air base? What is Qatar going to be developing in Idaho?
Real quick, if Hoodie comes up, ask him if up means north. On Dr. Blitz's Live, he revealed that he doesn't know the difference between up and north. Ivory said he makes fascism look like a reality show plot twist. Trump's greatest achievement was exposing the GOP. They removed their mask and embraced their true selves. MAGA's value are the true GOP values.
Yeah, I saw some reporting about this, Maria. I actually talked to the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, this morning. This is largely...
Can we just point out, how fucking stupid this is that they're saying Secretary of War? Do we know that it's the Secretary of Defense? They just rebranded something that isn't rebranded. It is the Secretary of Defense, and they just use it. Same with Gulf of America. Can we just, for 1 second, point out how fucking sheepish you guys are and how fucking culty you are? They just came out and they're like, we call it this now. And you're like, okay, yeah, this is what we call it now. It's not the Department of War. It is still the Department of Defense. They just renamed it, and now they say it, and you guys go along with it because you are such fucking bitch-ass cult members. Like, Cucky McCuckersons. They just are like, we're going to change the words now. You're like, okay, we will use those words. We'll use whatever words you want us to use. Ironically, you spent the whole last 4 years trying to tell us that, a man can't be a woman, even though nobody made that argument. Words have meaning. And now you come in here and you're like, well, we're just going to change meanings of words. We're just going to call different departments different things. And if you don't go along with it, we'll sue you. If you don't choose to say the words that we want you to say that are not legal terms, that have not legally been changed, we will sue you. That's the free speech party? That's you guys? It's the Gulf of America. It's AP, Gulf of Mexico, because that's what it says. We're suing you. You must say the words that we want you to say. Cucky McCuckersons. How do you guys do? Can you guys only come? Like, can you only come when somebody else is fucking your significant other? Be honest. Is that what this is? Do we have more cucks in this country than I thought we did? Because why is it that they could just tell you, like, hey, we're going to say this now. And you're like, okay, we'll say that now. Everybody who doesn't say that has Trump derangement syndrome. Not us. Not us who just changed our terminology on a whim because J.D. Vance said so. We're not the ones with Trump derangement syndrome. It's everybody else who doesn't get on their knees every time this guy walks in the room. Can you explain how you guys became such bitches so quickly? Don't call it the Department of Defense anymore. Isn't that what it's called? Yeah, but we're calling it Department of War. Yeah, that's what we are calling it, isn't it? That's right. Call it Department of War. Now you're all out there saying Department of War. They're selling merch. They rebranded and sold you merch, and you bought it. And you're like, yay! I'm paying for this. I'm paying for them to tell me what words I can and cannot say. Now I'm buying merch to celebrate it. Cool.
A fake story we continue to have with countries that we work with. We have relationships where, sometimes their pilots work on our bases, sometimes that we train together, sometimes we work together in other ways. The reporting that somehow there is going to be a Qatari base on United States soil, that's just not true.
They just told us they were taking their own money and building a training center on our base. And now J.D. Vance is like, it's not true. Historically, we've worked with other countries. We've trained them. Well, that's not what we're talking about, are we, JD? We're not talking about you training other countries. We're talking about Qataris building a training facility on one of our military bases. That's what we're talking about. That's what the story said. Why is JD Vance telling you dipshits that it's not a true story? Real quick, where's MAGA here? Why do you guys let JD Vance lie to you like this? Do I need to play the Pete Hegseth clip again? Do I need to go backwards? Where they announced that the Qataris are literally building a training facility on our base, and now JD Vance is telling you that's fake news? The reporting is fake news? So when I play a clip of Pete Hegseth announcing what they're going to do, I'm broadcasting fake news now. Do you understand how easy this is for them? They don't even have to make sense of anything. They can just lie about whatever the fuck they want, and you're like, I love that. Yeah, I'm going to eat that up.
We are continuing to work with a number of our Arab friends to ensure that we are able to enforce this peace, but we're not going to let a foreign country have an actual base on American soil. So there's a bit of misreporting.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, what are they building then? It's a jungle gym. It's going to be full of bouncy houses. We're going to go there and we're going to have a good time. So that's what they're doing. It's not a military base. We would never let them do that. I think they're putting in a Bojangles. I think that's what they're doing. What is this? What do you mean?
Have an actual base on American soil. So there was a bit of misreporting on that, as there often is, as you know, Maria.
JD Vance needs to keep going in front of cameras over and over and over again. Every time he gets exposed as a complete fraud. He's not that good at this. I know you guys like him. You all think that he's the next president. You all think that because he's Donald Trump's lapdog, and he's a total and complete suck-up bitch who he just can speak in full sentences. And so when he defends Trump, you're like, actually, this is finally making sense. Yeah, because those were real sentences. Those were real words. Those were complete sentences. And you were confused when Donald Trump was speaking because he's a fucking moron and he doesn't speak in full sentences and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So, but like by comparison, when JD Vance comes up, you're like, I like him. He seems reasonable and he explains things really well. Yeah, in full sentences. JD Vance is just Trump who can speak in full sentences, but he lies just as much, and he's an obvious fraud just as much. In fact, perhaps more obvious because he speaks clearly. Because we know that this man functionally can have a conversation, and so we have a higher level of expectation for him. When JD Vance runs for president, it's going to be a real fucking problem for him because he doesn't get to hide behind Donald Trump anymore. He's going to have to stand on his own 2 feet, and those 2 feet are wobbly. They're very wobbly. He went from Trump is Hitler to Trump is God, and then what's next? By the way, once the Epstein files come out, It's just going to be like, oh, Trump was a bad guy. I knew it all along. There's a growing conspiracy theory that I've seen. I kind of think it's true. We'll see. I don't want to predict it, but there's a growing conspiracy that what Trump is doing right now, the reason that they're slow walking the Epstein files is because Trump is trying to get a lot of shit done that you can't really get done if you don't have if you have a president who does things democratically. And so there's this growing conspiracy theory. You'll notice J.D. Vance has been kind of absent for all of Trump's craziest shit. Every time Trump does something crazy, like J.D. Vance isn't in the room, or J.D. Vance doesn't say anything, so you don't know that J.D. Vance is in the room. The growing theory is simply that they're going to let Trump do all this shit that they want him to do, the stuff from Project 2025, because his dipshit followers will just let him do whatever the fuck he wants to do. And then J.D. Vance is going to have cover because he works for Trump. So that when this all comes crashing down, J.D. Vance will be like, look, I wasn't the president. Like, my job was to go out and do what I was told by the president. So, yeah, I came out here and I defended this stuff, but I had to. I didn't believe it. And then he'll say, like, you'll notice I wasn't there on that day. I didn't say anything about this particular issue. That's I think what the strategy is. That's the exit plan. Because Trump's not doing well mentally or physically, specifically mentally. He's losing his fucking mind mentally. And on his way out, and once the Epstein files are released, and you saw Donald Trump this weekend talk about, like, oh, there's no way I'm getting into heaven. Like, I just think we're prefacing all of this. They know what's in the files. They know it's going to make Trump look bad. Maybe it means the end of his presidency. But for whatever reason, J.D. Vance has created a distance where other Trump people are not. They are close by his side. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, they are close by his side through all of this. J.D. Vance isn't. So when all of this truth comes out, you guys will just, I think what he hopes is that MAGA will just abandon Trump and come to J.D. Vance because it's safe harbor, and that J.D. Vance will take that momentum and ride. I don't think he can do it. I think that once you know that you're wrong about Trump, then you're going to be a little more open-minded and guarded, because that's going to be really fucking embarrassing for a lot of you. When those Epstein files come out and you see the names that are in there and you see what they've been doing, and you understand, like, it's now been when did it was August? So like almost 3 months now that they've been pushing back the release of the Epstein files. Once they're out, it's going to be really obvious why they're releasing why they took so long. And I think a lot of you will abandon Trump. And at that point, I don't think you're just going to be like, hey, I'll go into the next cult. I'll go to the next liar. How about this guy who stood by Trump this whole time and made me think like I wasn't crazy for thinking Trump wasn't hiding this? I think it's a bad calculation. But anyway, just a growing conspiracy theory to keep your eye. I don't know if is that conspiracy? That's just a theory, I guess. Doesn't require any conspiracy there. Let me go here. Actually, this is a good way to segue. I'm going to go to number 10. It's not just me that says that, though. It's not just me that's taking notice. Here is Joe Rogan. I don't know why he and his what's this guy's name? They used to podcast together. Shit, what is his name? Somebody help me with this guy's name. He used to be Joe's, like, I think they were sidekicks, right? Somebody have this name? How does Tom Hanks' name get in here? How's Tom Hanks? No one is abandoning Trump. Shut up, Mike. Shut up. People are abandoning Trump all the time. It happens all the time. What are you talking about? This is why we say you're in a cult. That's not Red Band. When you say nobody's abandoning Trump, like, people are actually abandoning Trump. We know for sure people are abandoning Trump. What are you talking about? It's not Jamie. No, who is this guy? Duncan, Duncan Russell. Didn't they used to podcast together? Is it Russell? Duncan Trussell. Is it Trussell or Russell? Trussell, I think, yeah. I feel like they used to, maybe I'm mixing that up. Maybe they didn't used to podcast together. Anyways, Duncan Trussell has been like this weird voice of reason for Joe Rogan. But every time I see Duncan Trussell, he's had a couple viral clips with Rogan trying to get Rogan to see the truth. Trussell has to pretend that he's just finding this stuff out for the first time. So what you're going to see here is Duncan Trussell already knowing the answer to this, and he is going to gentle parent Joe Rogan into this. Trussell is not Rogan. He's not MAGA, but he knows that if he presses Rogan and he comes at him confrontationally, Rogan will just entrench. So he always has to, like, lead Rogan to the right answer. And here's an example.
Voted 51-49 to defeat an amendment.
Oh, sorry. They're talking about the Epstein files and not being released. And what Rogan said right before this is that it's Congress. Congress is hiding it because they're all going to be in that list. And Trussell's like, Yeah, I think so. Let's look at it. Who is it? By the way, who is it? Who are the members of Congress who are blocking this? We should find out, and we should go after those members of Congress. And Rogan's like, yeah, let's figure out who in Congress is blocking that. Good trick by Duncan Trussell here.
Voted 51-49 to defeat an amendment that would have forced the Department of Justice to release all files related to Jeffrey Epstein. The vote was largely along party lines, with 2 Republicans joining all.
All right, Red Baron, let's do it too. Both parties are involved in the Epstein scandal. Bunch of perverts and degenerates running the country. Okay, if both parties are involved, that's fine. How come only one party is voting unanimously to release them, and the other party is voting unanimously, almost unanimously, not to? Then explain that. Explain how the divide is down party lines. One side says no, one side says yes. Again, I will say it. I'm going to continue to say this. Both sidesism, people who talk about both sides, don't listen to them. It's worthless. It is a dog shit take. It's a lazy take from people who want to have the right answers, but don't want to take any time to research it. They want to feel like the smartest person in the room without earning being the smartest person in the room. So they do this. They watch everybody disagreeing, and they're like, actually, it's both sides. You can't see clearly. This is clear. This is clear. There are Democrats on that list in those files, and all the Democrats are voting to release them. There are Republicans in those files, and all the Republicans are voting not to release them. This isn't both sides. That is an incredibly lazy take, and I'm tired of people in the middle of an attempted fascist takeover be like, well, actually, it's both sides. That shit was true in 2008. It's not true now. But in 2008, 2012, 2004, that was true. Not now. Now we have fascism versus not fascism. Truth versus not truth. Release the files versus don't release the files. We don't have a both sides thing right now. Stop being cowardly. It's time to take a side.
Democrats in supporting the amendment.
Oh, wait, not both sides. It was the Republicans voting against this shit.
It says 2 Republicans joining the Democrats in supporting the amendment to defeat it. So why are the Democrats interested in defeating it?
Well, let's ask. No, I think this is saying that the Democrats.
He's dumb. Joe Rogan, also a dumb guy. Okay, Joe Rogan talks about a lot of things, and he has like a lot of surface level knowledge about a lot of things, but like reading comprehension's a little tough for old Rogan there. Why are the Democrats hiding this? Excuse me. What? I don't think you know what you read, Joe.
Want it to come out, and the Republicans don't.
Okay.
And party lines. Let's ask.
Hold on, Nunya. I didn't say that both sides can't be like. You can do both sides when it comes to like people who are angry and refuse to like have a middle ground about anything. I'm saying there's no both sides on the Epstein files. There's both sides on a lot of things. You can both sides a lot of issues, right? Like you could both sides Palestine, Gaza. You can both sides that. You can say that both sides contributed to the genocide in Gaza. There are issues that you can both sides. So just so we're clear on that. This isn't one of them. This isn't a both sides issue. And anybody saying this is a both sides issue, I think, is just not doing their research.
Complexity. Why won't they release the Epstein?
So I was gonna. There's Eric Swalwell, who's I guess.
I read it wrong. No. Okay. So the Democrats were not. The Democrats were pushing this. The Republicans fought against it. Okay, I fucked that up. So 51-49 is crazy. So they just voted along party lines. So they're probably told to do this.
Right. So what the fuck's in there, man?
Well, so then they've been, not only is the government shut down right now, I think that might affect it some, but they're in recess, Congress is. And so Eric Swalwell said this stuff today. Again, it might not be true, but.
It's coming to an end, guys. I've spoken to a lot of House Republicans this week, and they confided that Trump's movement support is fading. As one told me, this Epstein bomb is about to drop, and no one wants to defend a pedo protector. It's just a matter of time, Swalwell said in a thread. One Republican just texted me that if there's a discharge vote on Epstein, they expect a jailbreak of over 100 members. Trump will go nuts, he added.
So they said, this further goes on to say that if they get back, that this is the first thing on the docket, and that's sort of what's holding them back in recess right here.
Wow. We are watching wild history in real time.
Dude.
Voted.
Joe does this thing too, where when something is bad for Republicans, he's like, "This is wild, man. This is historical." History is going to remember you, Joe. You were one of the most powerful voices, and you couldn't see what was right in front of you because you kept letting all your billionaire friends influence you. You let them all tell you that what you were seeing wasn't really what you were seeing. That's how history will remember you. Amber said, "Watch 60 Minutes from Sunday. Segment compares 1920s to now." Amber, will you send that to me so that I don't forget and maybe I can cover it tomorrow? I haven't seen that yet. FOD said both sides is my best buddy. Who just heard you say that both sides dog shit take? Perfect timing. Thank you. All right. Here's an example of both sides not being applicable. There's new information now about the crime scene of Jeffrey Epstein's death. We're finding out more and more, and this slow trickle of death is devastating for the Republicans, because Republicans now, you have Pam Bondi, you have Kash Patel, they've gone on the record. Like the Department of Justice during the Biden administration, they didn't go on the record for this stuff with Epstein, but both Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are on the record saying that everything's on the up and up, and they keep getting caught. They said there were no, the first Trump administration said there was no footage from the jail. Then there was footage. Then the footage wasn't edited, and it turned out it was. Then that footage wasn't edited, and it turned out it was. Like, they've been caught lying 3 or 4 times already with Epstein. Oh, the files are on my desk. I'll release them tomorrow. They're not released. Kash Patel, there's a list. We're going to release the list, and the only reason it's not released now is because Democrats care about who's on it. No list released, and files not released. Now we have more evidence of a cover-up regarding Jeffrey Epstein's crime scene. And remember, Donald Trump was the president when Epstein died. The investigation was done by Donald Trump's Department of Justice, and the public statements were done by Donald Trump's Attorney General.
On the morning of August 10th, 2019.
Let's see. Adam said, comedy, Jonestown by Elephant Graveyard, must watch. I've seen that. It's so good. But Adam, thank you. If you guys don't, I think we have watched some, we watched something from Elephant Graveyard. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, you guys should watch comedy Jonestown from Elephant Graveyard. It's really good.
Convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was discovered dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Lower Manhattan. Then U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr ordered an immediate investigation.
We will get to the bottom of what happened, and there will be accountability.
Several days later, the chief medical examiner of New York City ruled his death a suicide. But major questions remain, including how and even with what he may have killed himself. Our review.
Now, Nicholas, that's not correct. The Democrats pushed for the files to be released, but the case was still open, so they couldn't. Then the judge responsible sentenced Ghislaine while simultaneously sealing the files. That's the grand jury stuff. That's not all of these files.
The evidence uncovered troubling inconsistencies and points to major problems in the government's handling of the case. More than 6 years later, key details of Jeffrey Epstein's death remain unresolved and unknown. CBS News' 60 Minutes first obtained 90 crime scene photos tied to the U.S.
John Johnson, I didn't see your question. Type it again. Whatever question it was that you asked, I didn't see it, so you can type it again. I'll look for it.
Justice Department's 2023 final report. Those photos, taken by New York's Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, raise more questions than they answer. Some of these images are being released here for the first time. Crime scene experts who reviewed them were sharply critical, saying Epstein's cell should have been treated like a crime scene. By all appearances, it wasn't. I'm CBS News correspondent Scott McFarland. Here's what we know.
Valerie. Hey, Tom, I'm paying him.
Epstein's body was discovered at 6:30 a.m. when corrections officers arrived at his cell to deliver breakfast. According to the only witness who saw him hanging, a corrections officer named Michael Thomas, Epstein was allegedly found suspended from the top of the bunk in a near-seated position with his legs straight out and his buttocks approximately 1 inch to 1.5 inches off the floor. Internal memos obtained by CBS News describe him as cold, and no palpable pulses were felt. In total, we've reviewed 90 photos of the scene and the evidence allegedly found there.
I know you see it. Look up the video of them releasing the... I don't know what you're asking, John. I know you see it. Look up the video of them releasing... Who's them? I don't know who you're talking about, John. Can you be more specific?
Here's what those photos show. The sequence of photos starts with a picture of the stairs leading up to Epstein's tier, Tier L. Underlying data from the photo shows it was taken at 9:34 a.m.
Everybody knows it was Hillary, guys. Guys, it was Hillary Clinton who got all this together. She somehow was able to get into the prison while she wasn't president, while she wasn't a member of the government, while Trump was the president, and she also covered all this stuff up. She just was playing 4D chess against Trump. Is Trump that dumb that even when Trump was president, Hillary was running the show?
3 hours after his body was discovered and 4 hours before the arrival of the FBI on scene. Next in the sequence is a picture of the tier. According to the official FBI Handbook of Crime Scene Investigation, investigators should establish a progression of overall, medium, and close-up views of the crime scene. This is the only photo of the tier from that morning, and Epstein's cell, located to the right, is not pictured.
Some really shoddy work here, if you can even call it that. I mean, there's an absence of work here.
Nick Barrero is a former law enforcement officer and digital forensic expert.
You always start with the big picture. For example, the socks on the floor in that hallway right there. If you're documenting that piece of evidence, well, one, you would put a little teepee, a little evidence marker on it, a little yellow number 1 or whatever next to it. And then you would photograph it from as far away as you can. And then you go in and you take one maybe, a couple steps away from the socks, getting it more in context. And then you get right up, as close as reasonable. So it's you see as much detail as possible and you take that shot. That's like evidence photography 101.
You can also see on the back wall one of the prison cameras. It was streaming but not recording due to a hard drive malfunction that had been identified but not fixed, according to the Department of Justice report. Next,
I've got a problem with that because that's what they said about the other video too. Right? They said there was no video because there was no hard drive. So is there anybody here that works with cameras in security? If you have a prison like this, would each camera have its own hard drive, or would that all go to a singular hard drive? The way that these are wired. Does anybody know the answer to that question? It doesn't seem correct to me that each camera would have its own hard drive. Is there anybody that works in that line of work that's here? Brion says central hard drive. Okay, that's what I thought too, right? An NAS system. Is Bree here? I know Bree's might know that stuff. There's a central control server rack. Okay. So, right, if this is streaming, but there's no hard drive, how did we get streaming video from a different angle? How did we have that? That's what I'm saying. If they said the camera stopped working, fine. But in the files, they say that it wasn't the camera that didn't work. The camera was working. And I assume they say that because somebody's watching the cameras, right? So if the camera went out, somebody at the prison would be like, oh, the camera's out. So it seems to me that that's why they would say that. But if it's centrally located, why do we have other video? So if this was streaming, it wouldn't be a hard drive problem. We would have that video too, right? If we have both, there's probably evidence of deleted files on that hard drive. Be interesting to see.
Blurry image of the door to Epstein's cell, number 220. Running underneath the door is a cable that provided power to a device meant to help him sleep, a CPAP machine. According to prison records, Epstein had initially been assigned to a cell in a different tier, but he was moved here for easier access to an outlet. Prison computer systems were never updated to note that move, according to investigators. On the door, you can see a piece of paper.
Same footage can be overridden in 7 days. Would we have a record of that, though? There would be a forensic record of that, right? But I guess you wouldn't have the backup. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Later photos show this up close. It's a printout with Epstein's personal details and a black and white picture. This was how prison employees knew who was in the cell. Above that, in a similar plastic slip, is the ID card for Epstein's former roommate, Efrain Reyes. Cells typically hold 2 inmates, and following a suspected suicide attempt, Epstein was mandated to have one. The day before Epstein's death, Reyes had been transferred out of the prison and brought to another facility. Former Bureau of Prisons officials were surprised to see Reyes's card still on the door. They're meant to confirm the identity of inmates as they're transferred and should have stayed with Reyes or the officers processing his transfer. Investigators said
that's an interesting one. What do you think the chances are that was just left behind for a few days? Probably not good, right? I mean, wouldn't you need that everywhere you go? And wouldn't everybody notice that you didn't have that? Do
His
we?
transfer was
I
key
wonder
because
what the records look like of his transfer. Is the transfer just something we've been told?
it left Epstein alone in his cell, giving him the opportunity to hang himself. The Department of Justice determined the failure to assign Epstein a new roommate was potentially a fatal mistake. Next, we see the inside of Epstein's cell. There's a bunk bed, a toilet, and a small table attached to the floor. On the floor is the CPAP machine. There are at least 6 blankets or sheets strewn about, and prison policy should have allowed only 1 blanket and 1 sheet per inmate. On the table is a pen, a violation of prison policy, and an MP3 player and headphones, a bag for a CPAP mask, as well as several other items. Under the bunk bed is an unidentified object that could be a suitcase. Along it is a pipe similar to the one attached to the CPAP machine. Neither of those items are noted or documented in publicly available reports. One hallmark of the scene is that numerous items appear to be moved before all the photos have been taken. Case in point, these socks. Earlier we saw them down the hall, yet now a pair appears in front of his door. Experts say this is reflective of poor crime scene control. Next is a photo of the bunk bed again from a different angle. You can see an orange string hanging. This is one of several orange fabric pieces that appear throughout the room, as well as an additional evidence collected by the medical examiner. None of those are confirmed to be the noose that he hung himself with. In the Department of Justice Inspector General report, that picture...
We know from this Department of Justice that they're willing to stage things like the ridiculous, even like putting out AI images. I think what you had here is that it appears that during this time you had maybe professionals, and we're not dealing with professionals anymore. Why are there so many sheets? Yeah, why is that? Why is the mattress on the ground? All of this is bizarre.
Picture is featured alongside the description of how he was found, suggesting investigators believe that was the string he used to hang himself. But if that was the case, and the room wasn't disturbed before the photographer arrived, he would have been sitting on mattresses, not the floor. You can see that there are actually 2 mattresses on the floor, as well as additional blankets. Sleeping on the floor and having 2 mattresses were both...
I hadn't seen it either. This was from 60 Minutes. I hadn't seen any of this either, so I don't know how new it is. But admittedly, I didn't really follow this stuff when it happened. It didn't raise alarm bells. I wasn't aware of Epstein's connections to giant banks and in Israel. I didn't know any of this stuff. So admittedly, during this time, I wasn't covering the story, and I didn't have this job.
Both violations of policy. You can see additional orange fabric, perhaps clothing or ripped sheets, wedged between the wall and the mattress. But there was no documentation of those items. Next are several photos showing a close-up of a note. On one side of the folded paper, it said, "Davis kept me in a locked shower for 1 hour. Noel sent me burnt food. Giant bugs crawling over my hands. No fun." It's not clear who Davis is. Noel likely refers to Tova Noel, one of the corrections officers on duty. The next photo is the other side of the folded piece of paper. There's some indecipherable writing, and underneath that, the name Reyes, Epstein's roommate, and Reyes's prisoner identification number. Next to that is a name and number. CBS.
That's actually a good point, Hoofy. He had access to an electrical cord, and he chose to do it with a string. That's a good point. Even that, yeah, even maybe the tubing. That's a good point.
News has determined this is Reyes's uncle, who declined to comment. Epstein's brother confirmed this was his handwriting. According to a Bureau of Prisons investigation, Epstein had been making payments to Reyes's prison commissary account through one of his lawyers. It's common in prison for inmates to pay bribes to individuals outside of prison for protection. Reyes died of cardiac arrest in 2020, soon after being released from prison. Court documents indicate he had been cooperating with authorities in a federal case against a drug ring. There appears to be writing on the other side of the paper, but that wasn't photographed. The next series of photos are additional...
Of course not. Of course not. Let's not show what's on the other side. I mean, you can see what he's talking about. It appears there's some writing down there. Maybe up there. I mean, I guess this would have to be up there. You fold this over, that would be... Yeah, no, that doesn't go with that. It looks like the drawing of like a table or something down there. Yeah, let's just not photograph that.
There appears to be writing on the other side of the paper, but that wasn't photographed. The next series of photos are additional pictures of the bunk bed, showing the rope in detail and blankets strewn about, and a close-up of a different cloth that appears to be tied in a loop. Next, we jump to an entirely different room, although it's not clear where.
I mean, they say it was laid out like this. We don't know. For those of you who think like came here, you said you wanted to hear about the prisoner release and the peace deal. Let me just tell you how I'm going to cover the ceasefire in Gaza and the peace deal. I'm going to treat it with skepticism. I don't believe it, and I'm also not going to celebrate Donald Trump for this. I'm not going to celebrate Netanyahu for this. There will be no celebration on my part for this administration for the ceasefire. It should have been done forever ago. I'm not gonna spend time celebrating them. Donald Trump let this go on forever. He didn't do a goddamn thing. He didn't do a fucking thing. He could have stopped this genocide when he first got into office, like he said he would. He will receive no credit from me. You don't get credit for letting a genocide drag on for 9 months and then doing the bare minimum and working out some sort of financial deal so that you can have a ceasefire. We will not be covering that here in that type of way. We'll cover breaking stories, but that motherfucker isn't going to get a second of thanks or gratitude from me. Because I don't fucking care. He could have done this forever ago, and I don't think he did this anyways. I think it has very little to do with him. So no, we're not going to jack off Donald Trump for doing absolutely fucking nothing and then traveling to Egypt to take credit for it. Pass.
See a defibrillator and an orange cloth tied to a noose-like shape. Comparing the floor, you can see that this is not Epstein's cell. A defibrillator had been brought out to be used on Epstein in his cell, and then again in a medic station at the prison, where employees had transported his body. This cloth did not appear in earlier photos in his room. According to the Department of Justice investigators, when the officer discovered Epstein, he said he immediately ripped the orange sheet or shirt away from the bunk bed. The other officer on the scene told investigators she heard Thomas call out for her to retrieve the cutter, and then she heard Thomas rip something. Going back to the photo of the noose, you can see the end of the noose is hemmed, which suggests it wasn't ripped down and was not the noose that Thomas discovered Epstein hanging from.
There's just another noose? Just two of them?
There is no indication of where the noose was found in the reports. A diagram of this noose was included in the official autopsy. However, the Department of Justice acknowledged in their report the noose depicted is not the ligature Epstein used to kill himself.
Where is it?
The next photo appears to be back in Epstein's cell. Now we see a CPAP mask. This was not visible in earlier photos, nor was this card or photo or these boxes. Most of those items are not seen again in the medical examiner's photographs.
This is essentially a useless evidence photograph because it's like, okay, this was there somewhere at some time, but we have no idea.
Is a romance novel there in the in this top corner? Is that a ripped up romance novel? Do you guys see this up in this corner? Is he reading? Is he reading smut?
How or why it ended up in the position that it's in. You would fail your police academy scenario if you did this. Like, there's no investigation here.
Is this the mattress now on its end and these items were underneath? Not clear. Looking at the metadata, the photo appears to have been taken at
it's like they learned to stage Epstein's self-unaliving from a bad 80s movie. Yeah.
54 a.m. If that's accurate, that means the entire crime scene had been disturbed several hours before FBI investigators even arrived. Next, there are some additional details of the room, including a small piece of cloth attached to the window. Following that, we see a series of photos of medication being held by an investigator.
Yeah, your vitamin C. Some athlete's foot, maybe. What that is. Oh, no. Not acetaminophen. He was giving himself autism while he was in prison. That's not good. A full box of it? Does anybody check to make sure that this wasn't Tylenol's fault? Anybody check on that? Know what that is? Methylprednisone? What's methylprednisone? I don't know what that is.
One item appears to be the same packaging seen on the floor in the earlier photo. We can also note there are now 2 mattresses stacked on top of the bed, suggesting that the entire room has been reorganized, with no documentation
for asthma. Okay, thank you.
That process or where things were moved from. Here's how the room was found. Here's how it looks 90 minutes later.
Whoa.
Remember, the FBI still has not arrived on scene.
Whoa.
It appears the items that have been photographed in detail are now placed on top of the bunk bed. Where they came from is not clear. In a second sequence of photos labeled path evidence, we see evidence bags and evidence. The metadata indicates these were taken 5 days later.
All right, yeah. So look, there's 2 things that happened here. Either, I guess there's 3 options. Either he was able to unalive himself and break a bone that nobody has ever sees broken when you unalive yourself by that process. Hard to say the right words. Or somebody else did it and they covered it up. Or Tylenol got him. It's one of those 3 options.
The first photo is a bag of evidence that says it contained ligature bedsheet material strip collected from the Metropolitan Correction Center, cell number 220. There are also 2 additional bags marked Epstein clothing and Epstein bedding. The ligature previously seen on the ground in a room that was not Epstein's cell is now photographed alongside the bag. Again, you can see the end of the cloth has not been torn or cut. The medical examiner also collected this blanket. You can see that it was ripped along the edge. The final evidence photos are...
Brian said, dilettante, a person who cultivates an area of interest, such as the arts, without real commitment or knowledge. You said that's how we should refer to Rogan now. I like that. Yeah.
Epstein's clothing that had been returned from the hospital. Included in that are plastic zip tie handcuffs. This photo, taken that morning, shows his hands are cuffed. While it may have made sense to restrain Epstein, given he had not been officially declared dead, the Department of Justice report makes no mention of it. According to prison sources, staff had access to handcuffs, which were the standard tool for inmate transport, not zip ties. Department of Justice investigators interviewed 3 inmates on the tier. 2 of them were in the cell across from Epstein's. But one unusual thing to note from an earlier photo: that cell had its windows papered over. That photograph was time-stamped 9:34 a.m., 3 hours after Epstein's body was discovered, although it's unknown when the paper was put up. In the government's report, those inmates were key witnesses in affirming the corrections officer accounts. One of those inmates in that cell said he observed a male CO, or corrections officer, enter into the cell and begin performing CPR. He said he saw Epstein on the floor and saw the guard emerge holding a rope and a defibrillator. He said he saw bruising on Epstein's face and earphones on his ears. Experts noted that removing a noose while the headphones remained in Epstein's ears would have been a particular challenge.
A wiggle in the wrong direction and those things fall out. I can sit still and they fall out. John was asking the question earlier that I was supposed to answer. John wants you to know that the Epstein files have been released because there's a video where where Pam Bondi released the Epstein files. Yeah, if you go and you watch that video and you watch the people who got those files, you'll know that those were all redacted and that those are not the entirety of the files. I don't know, John, I wasted too much time on you as it is. If you think that they've released they're not even saying they've released the files. Like nobody, Trump isn't saying it. Kash Patel isn't saying it. Pam Bondi isn't saying it. Nobody is saying that they have released the files except for you. I think you're lost, John.
An inmate in that same cell said he saw the officer enter and shake Epstein, then try to pick him up and fall over, then begin giving chest compressions. That prisoner also said they saw staff put Epstein on a stretcher, still wearing headphones. He also says he saw a male corrections officer emerge from Epstein's cell holding a sheet with a loop and a knot. So what did the FBI do? The Inspector General report says the FBI inspected the cell and retrieved what it believed to be relevant to its investigation into the cause of Epstein's death, which included 1 torn sheet, miscellaneous papers, and an MP3 player. The Inspector General report doesn't include documentation of those items or what analysis was done on them. It does say the linens were recycled and the remaining personal articles in the room were collected by the Bureau of Prisons. It's not clear what happened to those items. Lawyers who control Epstein's estate did not respond to inquiries.
That's crazy. You just go wash them? Just use them again?
From the report, it doesn't appear that an official FBI crime scene investigator ever visited the scene. documented any items, or ran fingerprint or DNA tests on anything in the room. Again, the Department of Justice declined to comment.
The FBI literally has all of the best tools. I mean, spared no expense. They have every tool you can imagine. And they used none of it, as far as we can tell.
It's absolutely true that suicides by hanging in prisons do happen. We've reached out to the office of the chief medical examiner, as well as former and current staff involved in the investigation, the doctor who pronounced Epstein dead, all of the guards working that night, the EMTs who transported him, the Bureau of Prisons, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and others. All declined to comment or did not respond.
Said Beckett, somebody's saying Beckett Day has a video on this about the cellmates. Oh, the dog is trying to break in. Do you guys hear that? Girls, no. My dog's trying to open the door. All right. If somebody has that Beckett Day, send it to me. We'll cover it tomorrow. I don't want to do the whole thing on Epstein today, but every time we learn something new, it becomes more and more obvious that the government's covering this up. Hey, girls, I know. Go. Hold on one sec. Girls, go. Up. Go up. I'm just going to put them on bed. Sorry, they're bad listeners. Go up. Go. Girls, up. There we are. All right, we're good now. They're good now. That's terrifying when a dog comes in. I don't know what happened, but apparently Hassan got in trouble for something with a dog. So I know people do that with dogs. I can't really show them because there's a wall straight behind me that's a green screen. They have to hop up here, and only one of my dogs will hop up. She's jumped on stream before, but her head can only get to like where my hand is right there, so you can't really see. You guys will have to stick around. You can see them another time. I want to go to this. Jen, real quick, though, do you want to do announcements if you're here? I'll try and get him to come over here while Jen does announcements. Jen, are you here? Maybe.
No, I'm here. I just have to mute the other thing so that I can.
Oh, you're good. Let me see if I can get one of the dogs over.
Which one? Which one hops up?
Dorothy does. Dorothy, come here.
Dorothy does. We've seen Dorothy before. I've seen Dorothy before. So, all right. So we've got about 2 hours left of the show. We do this each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. If you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so. There is the pay links. You can see Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats. All go towards. Oh, you blurred us out.
Yeah, it was blurred for a minute.
Did she hop up?
She hopped up for a second. Yeah, now she's back to laying down.
Okay. So I think the gift total, we're a little bit behind, but we've got 2 hours left to knock it out. So if you guys could help us, like I said, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out the remaining balance of the gift hold. This is our job. We do this each day, so we need to keep the lights on. I saw someone earlier talking about grifting. That we're grifting. No, this is called crowdfunding, and that's
or grifting. You can call it whatever you want. By the way, I just saw a message from Bree that somebody rated us earlier. So whoever rated us, thank you for everybody that came from the raid. I didn't see that. It didn't show up on my. Did you see?
I did not.
Okay. Well, thank you for whoever rated. Bree, send me a message if you know who it was.
So today we're not having the members only event, but next Monday we'll be having one. So if you're a paid subscriber or member on any of the channels, you can join us for that. They're fun. They're entertaining. So if you guys disagree with RTP, you can come up and talk. And how you do that is the Venmo username is my Discord. If you send me a message on Discord, I can bring you up and you can be part of the conversation and you don't have to just chirp in the comments. Check out the link tree in our bio. We're on most social media platforms. So you've got merch, Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. Why is the last letter of the alphabet black and white?
I think it's Z.
Yeah, because it's a Z, bruh.
Stupid. Gus, Texas Broadcast is who rated us. So Gus, if you're here, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. And I'm sorry if I said that wrong. All right, I want to get to this because what Republicans, as the government is shut down, they're just going to keep blaming everybody else. They have this new thing. They're very upset about the No Kings protest. It's going to happen. Is that this Friday or this Saturday, the 18th? Let's see, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 18. This Saturday, you have the No Kings protest, and now what you have Republicans. They're trying to like tie this to the conspiracy. As Trump sends out his brown shirts, his dipshit ICE people into the streets, and they arrest people, and they fight with American citizens. They want you guys to believe that the real problem in this country are the people who are going to protest on Saturday. And what they're trying to say now is that this protest, that the reason that the Democrats are keeping the government shut down is because they want to wait until after this protest, that it's very important. All I think they're doing is like advertising. In fact, I wasn't even thinking of going to the protest. I usually don't go to protests. I'm thinking about going on Saturday. But I'm going to show you some clips now of them just blaming this shutdown on the protest. This is their new talking point.
If in fact they are waiting for this No Kings protest, no kings means no paychecks and no government.
No kings means no paychecks? That's what that means. I don't know if you guys were aware that you can't get paychecks unless you have a king. Did you guys know that? Get a frog suit and go. It might be too hot still in Phoenix to be in a frog suit.
And Maria, I think the dirty secret here for why this has dragged on for so long is the Democratic friends in the mainstream media have been downplaying this shutdown. And this is getting serious. It's starting to affect the real economy. It's starting to affect people's lives.
Everything but themselves, always. It was the media. The media's downplayed this, and the Democrats just want to wait for this protest. Here's Scott Bassett continuing to talk about China, who is, oh my God, China is absolutely beating our ass. I'll get to that in a minute, but we are getting absolutely killed by China. They are 12 steps ahead of Trump at every turn. And now we're trying to, like, they're running out there. Scott Bassett's trying to say, like, oh, this is equal. Like, we respect China. China respects us. Like, we win some battles. They win some battles. No. They've won every battle. And that sucks. As somebody who historically has been proud to be an American, it sucks to be like, oh, and however many W's China has picked up since Trump's been in office. They're absolutely dusting us.
We have approached a relationship with China with great respect. The Chinese are very big on symbolism, and I can tell you it was highly inappropriate for them to announce these export controls on the day that the peace deal was announced.
All right. So Trump announced some new tariffs on China. China's announcing retaliatory tariffs, and they're mad because they didn't they announced it on a day when Trumpy Bear should have been getting all the attentions. We don't like it when Trumpy Bear doesn't get the attentions that he wants. Other countries need to make sure that Trumpy Bear gets the attention that they want. Fuck this ceasefire. Like this should have happened forever ago. You don't get credit for doing the right thing 10 months later. Fuck you, dude. We're not going to celebrate this. Hundreds of thousands of people are dead. You should have done this forever ago. You should be in front of microphones apologizing. And Republicans want us to go and be like, good job, Mr. Trump. No, dude, because we're not cucky little bitches. We've been advocating for this for 10. It could have been done forever ago. Day one, Trump could have went to Netanyahu and said, hey, knock that shit off. If you don't knock that shit off, we're sending in our troops. Game over. He didn't do anything. He let Netanyahu finish the job. It's completely destroyed. I'm not going to give him credit for this. And they're like, oh, but the Chinese, they didn't want Trumpy Bear to get a win, so they announced these tariffs. Well, another thing that Trump could have done is not started a trade war with a country who is beating his ass on every turn. Even if they did this to try and take credit away from Trump, who cares? Why are you talking about that right now? Why aren't you talking about the fact that you guys can't seem to win any of these trade deals?
And overshadow that.
And I'm wondering if that was by design, Secretary.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chinese government doesn't do anything by coincidence. I mean, the fact...
Everything's a conspiracy. They did it. The Chinese did this because Trumpy was having a good day, and they don't even respect Donald Trump. No, they don't. He's a dummy. He's very, very dummy. Very, very dummy. Very, very dumb. Sorry, I was reading a comment. And here's how they're positioning it too. They want if you do this to Trump, Trump is going to be mad when he comes to negotiate. You shouldn't have done that. Now Trump's really going to mean it when he comes and negotiates with you guys.
And I can tell you, trying to get leverage in front of a meeting with Donald Trump is a bad idea. And
that's a bad idea because when Trump is mad, he throws a tantrum. So if you're going to do this before we negotiate, it for a tantrum. He's losing. He's losing. They have all the leverage, and I'll explain it here in a minute. They are dominating this trade war. Who the fuck care? Why do they care if Trump's pissed? What's he going to do? Lose harder? Lose more? Every time he gets mad, he slaps tariffs on them, and we lose more. In fact, if I was the Chinese government, I'd be like, keep poking the bear. Keep bugging. He's going to fuck up their whole country. He's going to ruin everything. If I was China, all I would do is troll him. Because he's a child and he can't rise above and he can't meet the moment fucking ever. Because he's a child and everything is about him and his feelings. And you have the Treasury Secretary going, China's not thinking about his feelings very much right now. They're going to regret that. He's going to come there so mad, queen diaper and everything. He's going to shit his pants. They're going to kill him in this negotiation. Just like they do every time. He's going to go, you guys have to drop these tariffs. And they're going to go, get fucked. And he's going to go, okay. And then he's going to come back to America and be like, guys, I was really tough in there with those people. You should have seen it. I said, you got to do this. And then they said no. And we're still getting killed.
He turned the tables with his two very good tweets on.
He put out two really good tweets. Now, I know that it seems like China is winning because their economy is expanding and our economy is getting smaller. But Trump put up two really good tweets. And if they read those tweets, they're going to be so mad. They're going to be in so much trouble.
Friday, talking about raising tariffs and implementing in any sanctions that we need to.
Yeah.
So it was a miscalculation, but we are communicating now. I am confident that we can move forward.
He really said that. I want you guys to acknowledge the reality that we're in right now. China is negotiating trade deals with us, and they're negotiating circles around. Like, our farmers can't sell their soybeans. China's buying them from somewhere else, and China's increased the amount of soybeans they're buying now. And it looks like it's just a fuck you. Like, they don't even really need it. It looks like they're just saying it to be like, fuck you, Trump. Fuck you, dummy. And the Treasury Secretary went on Maria Bartiromo's show and said, yeah, I know that they're negotiating the fuck out of this. I know that they're decimating American farming. But do they have good tweets? So, really, who's winning here? Because he tweeted two good things. And I'll tell you, by the way, those tweets were bad. They weren't good. They make us look even more corrupt and pathetic, and I'll explain that in a minute.
Yeah, so what does that look like? Are you saying that the meeting between Xi Jinping and President Trump is still on, and you are going to wait to implement any of these sharper tariffs that you've discussed here, 100% tariff on Chinese imports, until after that meeting on November 1st?
Yes, that's the signal that the president has given. And I can.
Let me see if I find this here. Do I have this? Shit, where is it? I think I put it in the wrong spot. Give me 1 second. This ProPublica report here. I'll get to. Well, yeah, I'll go there. Yeah, I can get to it after. All right. I want to go back to those tweets though from Trump, because those tweets from Trump sparked something that needs to be investigated and is being investigated. If you live in the crypto sphere, you might know what I'm talking about. I regularly reference this investigative journalist work.
Only 30 minutes.
Because I think he's great. This is CoffeeZilla on his other channel, Voidzilla. CoffeeZilla is where he mostly like exposes crimes. Voidzilla is more of like his personal pet projects. But Trump sent out some tweets talking about specifically about the tariffs. And then something very, very strange happened that I don't know how you can explain this away other than somebody knew Trump was going to do this and traded on insider information. And it's somebody with a lot of money. Here's Voidzilla. Oh, let's see. Jeremy said, I like to tell cheesy jokes. Unfortunately, most of my friends are lactose intolerant. Thanks, Cookie Nibs and Marianne. Check over here, too, before I play this video. It's a little bit longer video. Got that. And Alyssa said, the fur babies have earned extra treats today because I said so. We don't deserve dogs. Okay, well, I'll have to take them on extra walks then, too, because Dorothy's she's a chunk. Thank you, Renee, said, for a great show. And Brian said, Joe Rogan equals dilettante. All right, here is CoffeeZilla going to explain like the series of events after Trump's tweets.
Welcome to an $190 million insider trading analysis. Someone made $190 million while the crypto markets were crashing yesterday in light of tariffs that seem to have been preempted by a very specific trader. We're going to get into it. I want to be clear that I'm not accusing anyone of a crime here. Insider trading specifically relates to securities. We've been pretty clear that crypto, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, are not securities. So I don't even know what this is. I think this is all legal, kind of. I don't think it should be, as you'll see, but...
Nathan, my dog is like 78 pounds. I don't know what's little about Dorothy. She is a large dog.
The question is, what did this guy know? Okay, how did somebody make $190 million while everyone else was losing their shirts yesterday? You don't know, there was one of the biggest crashes we've ever seen in crypto, and someone came in 24 hours before and started placing shorts against the market. Short is just when you bet that the underlying asset is going to go down in price and you will make money on that. Now, this all started
even dumber than he made it. Crypto, let's say crypto's at $100,000, okay? And you can make a bet that it's going to go to $95,000. You make that bet, you pay premiums. You're basically paying insurance on that premiums, and if it goes below $90, you make a bunch of money. That's as simple as I can put it. If it goes way below $90, you make even more money. So somebody was betting millions of dollars that crypto was about to crash.
Started October.
It's pronounced dilettante. Is it really? It looks like dilettante. Dilettante. I've heard the word dilettante. I fucked that up. Sorry. Dilettante.
October 9th. At 1639 GMT time, they start accumulating this Bitcoin short. They initially put, and this is not chump
English
change,
lab.
Guys. This isn't under your couch, pennies. This is $80 million that initially gets deposited, and they start placing shorts against Bitcoin. Okay, that's fine. Now the amount is unusual, but that itself is not the unusual part. Then we have Ethereum starts to get shorted at 349. GMT. Interesting. $30 million gets deposited into this account. Immediately start placing major bets that the market is going to go down. Why is this significant? Well, because at 14:57, this is only a few hours later, like 12 hours later, Trump posts on Truth Social that they are calculating a massive increase on Chinese tariffs. This is due to a rare earth mineral dispute. But the point is, nobody knew this was coming. Except, of course, maybe this guy.
Basically, China has said that they're going to be more protective of the rare earth minerals, and that's going to affect people like chip manufacturers. So China is basically saying, we're not going to export this as much. We're going to limit who gets this. And it's definitely like a shot at the United States. It definitely was meant to inflict pain for the people that Trump cares about the most, the richest among us, right? Trump's donors. China has realized that Trump isn't doing anything for the American people. Fucking over the farmers doesn't seem to bother him at all. But if you fuck with the people that have all the money, his buddies, that he's allowing to run this country while he sits back and acts like a psychopath, then Trump gets upset and does retaliatory tariffs, which China knew he was going to do. Right? So China's just like, watch this. Watch how easy it is to play this guy. It's gonna fuck him because the people that he's working with, they don't have leverage. Like the Nvidia, the Intel, they need these contracts. And Trump can't seem to beat China. So now China's like, all right, let's hit you where it hurts. Right in your pocketbook.
Because he's already got these multi-million-dollar shorts. Now, where I think this goes from suspicious to downright diabolical is the fact that at this point, the market dips a little bit because you have these threats of tariffs. But the person does not start closing out their shorts yet, which I think is very interesting. If you place this huge short bet and then the president tweets something like this, you would think you would close out your order. But not only do they not do that, not only do they not close out their short, they continue to place short bets against Bitcoin. In fact, this person continues to short Bitcoin all the way up till 2049-23 GMT. Why is that significant, ladies and gentlemen? It's because 2049 is the last short he places, okay? 2050.
I don't think it was China that bet all that. I think that's a good theory. And that was my first thought, is that China, knowing that Trump would react, would do this. But this is where I think it fucks up that narrative, when the person stopped trading.
GMT. A minute later, 1 minute later, Trump announces they're considering an 100% tariff on China, which of course tanks the market. And this person makes literally $190 million in 24 hours.
A lot of people are guessing it's Barron Trump. There's a lot of people who have, and I think you're going to be able to figure out who it was. It's likely they're going to trace these wallets, and unless somebody was very, very careful in hiding their wallet traffic, which maybe Barron Trump is, I don't know. I've never tracked his wallets. I don't even do that stuff. A lot of people are saying Barron Trump. A lot of people are pointing to Witkoff's son. What is his name? Not Steve. That's his dad's name. A lot of people are pointing to any crypto insider. It could be any of the sons. It could be any of the tech billionaires. It could be anybody who works at NVIDIA or Intel. Like if Trump is sharing this, whoever it is seemed to have inside knowledge that something was about to happen. I heard 80 million to Barron. Could be. Whoops. Aren't English labs small? The English labs have smaller heads. I don't know if they're smaller. Dorothy is thick. I have 2 labs. They're from the same litter. Dorothy and Rose. And Rose has virtually no muscle. She's very slender. And Dorothy is like a bulldog. Dorothy is all muscle. So I don't know. They're like 15 pounds different. They eat the exact same amount of food every day. I give them the same amount of food. Somehow Dorothy's like 15 pounds heavier. I don't know how that happens. She might be on steroids. I'm not sure.
The guy was placing shorts up to 1 minute before Trump announces this big, huge 100% tariffs. And then, by the way, immediately, as if he knew something, we start seeing the shorts close only 30 minutes later. So both the ETH and Bitcoin short closed 30 minutes later. By the way, these accounts were funded by the same people. This is the same person making these trades. So to recap, this person not only times the same day that a big announcement was made, he makes these $110 million short against crypto. He then also conveniently waits past the initial tweet about tariffs until the most significant announcement, which is the 100% tariffs. And he's shorting it up till 1 minute before that. Guys, this is some of the most blatant crime is legal moments we've seen. $190 million. And the question is anything going to be done? No, actually, I can already answer that for you. Probably not. But I think what we are seeing here is just the rise of insider trading across the board. I think it's disgusting. I think it ruins capital markets, and it's bad. But I don't really know what to do about it because
nobody here said it was Barron Trump. You guys, I think this is how you guys become MAGA. I really do think that MAGA hears whatever they want to hear. I think that there's a mass psychosis with you guys, where you can hear something and just take away something that wasn't said there. Nobody said it was Barron. A lot of people have claimed that they think that it's Barron. We don't know. Why weren't you pressuring Biden the same way? Because this never happened under Joe Biden. That's why. None of this ever happened under Joe Biden. This is that brain dead whataboutism shit. This is just dumb. I wouldn't even say Meng Hao said this is why capitalism bad. I don't even know that this is capitalism. This is just like crypto's a Ponzi scheme, and people are trading insider trading within a Ponzi scheme. None of this shit should exist. I don't know why cryptocurrency exists. I still haven't figured it out. It's just one big Ponzi scheme with no regulation. And this administration has decided not to prosecute any crimes in the crypto space, which is why all of these crypto criminals love Donald Trump, because they're getting filthy fucking rich because he's like, yeah, I'm doing it too. New reporting came out now. I think Trump has something like almost $900 million in Bitcoin. Where'd he get $900 million from? Where'd he get all that money? How does he have $900 million in cryptocurrency? He wasn't cash rich. Where'd that come from? You got to buy cryptocurrency with something. Where'd he get the $900 million? Let's say he bought it for $50 million. Or $500 million, excuse me. Where do you get that money?
It seems like everywhere we're seeing the insider trading. I don't know if some of you remember, there was a time where, Trump was going to post on his Truth Social that it's a good time to buy crypto, and people were buying spy calls immediately before it. But this is just complete.
That's a good point. This is the third time now that people have gotten filthy fucking rich off of knowing that Donald Trump was about to do something. He did it, and they make these crazy trades. You had the one before that tweet. And then you have Donald Trump actually running his own little Ponzi schemes that both got sniped. The Trump coin and the Melania coin that both got sniped, which require like insider information. This is how Donald Trump pays off his friends. You want to know why some of these people like at NVIDIA and Intel and these major donors, why they don't care when Trump does stuff that hurts them? Because he kicks them a little something on the side. This is what every fascist does. This is what every authoritarian does. They take their rich friends, and when they fuck them, they just kick them something on the side to make up for it. It's what he thinks he can do with American farmers, too. He thinks he can just give them a bunch of money, and they'll forget that he fucked them over. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It worked the first time. His first administration, when he fucked over the farmers, he bought them all off, and they voted for him again. So I don't know. We'll see.
Blatant stuff, just given the perfect timing of it all and the size of the bets that were made under such kind of sniper precision. At least that's what it looks like to me. But I also wanted to say this isn't the only place where this is happening. This YouTuber Cheddar Flow has a...
None of you worship freedom. None of you worship freedom. I don't know if you're MAGA or not, but like you can't be MAGA and freedom at the same time. This is the most authoritarian big government ever in our country. There's never been less freedom than there is now for the people who were granted those freedoms. Backtrack there, because there were times when certain people weren't granted freedoms. But like the excessive control that the federal government has over our lives now, every text you read, they have access to. Every message you send online, they have access to. They can track wherever you go. They're selling that information to private contractors like Palantir. There's never been a bigger police state in this country than we have right fucking now. Like they can see every single thing you do. They can watch every movement you make. How do you think they keep finding immigrants in places that like doesn't make a lot of sense? Like, how did you find them in church? Oh, I wonder how they found them at church. I wonder how they knew this specific person would be at church. I wonder.
Where they analyze options, and they pointed out that
yes, including COVID. This is way more than COVID. Are you out of your fucking minds? In COVID, your local government might have told you that you had to stay inside. Your local government. If you went outside, maybe your local police would come find you, but they had to find you. What wasn't happening is they weren't tracking your every movement and selling it to private data companies. Now we're selling it to private. Fuck. Apparently, we just gave all of our data to Russia. Do you guys not remember that? The Elon Musk just set up a back door to the Russian government, and they got all of our files. Do you remember that? There's nothing, and this just proves like exactly what we're talking about. There is absolutely nothing Trump can do that you guys won't dismiss and play whataboutism with. If Trump came out tomorrow and said, I watch every single move that you make. I watch you pee. I watch you shower. I read every text message that you have, and I sell it to Russia. You guys would go, well, what about Hunter Biden when he brought drugs into the White House? There is absolutely nothing that any of you actually care about. It's just Trump, Trump, Trump. Whatever Trump says is good. Defend Trump at all costs. Whataboutism away, anything that makes you uncomfortable. There's no comparison between what's happening now and COVID. None. We literally have the National Guard in the fucking streets arresting American citizens just for funsies, shooting them with rubber bullets. tear gassing them. Shut the fuck up, you victim ass bitches. All of you are like the biggest fucking group of pussies I've ever seen in my life is MAGA. They made us wear masks, and they told us to keep 6 feet distance from each other. Ah! They're shooting you with rubber bullets. That's okay. Okay, because I had to wear a mask, so that's okay. I've never met like a bigger, like all you do is wake up every day and try and figure out some way that you are the victim. Every fucking day. You are the biggest, whiniest bunch of pussy ass bitches I've ever seen in my life. Everybody who is still MAGA, goeth and fucketh thyself. You guys are the biggest bitches. And every day you come in here and you say the same shit to me. Low testosterone. You call me gay every day. You guys are just pussy ass bitches. Chrissy Teigen had it right. And you all adopt the personality of your leader, and your leader is a thin-skinned pussy ass bitch. And you're all like, oh, that's real manhood. Let's follow that. Let's not think for ourselves. Let's just show up every day on the internet and defend this 80-year-old senile man who shits his pants and can't complete sentences. Because you're in a cult.
Recently, there's been a big...
Let's get back to CoffeeZilla. Sorry, I got distracted.
AMD announcement where they partnered with OpenAI. OpenAI is going to, receive some of their stock. And conveniently, people were making bets on that as well immediately before it.
The most insane insider trade of the entire year just happened. An AMD whale bought 6 million plus of out-the-money calls, which was super unusual. Tenderflow actually posted on X right as that occurred. And then only 2 trading days later, we had news that OpenAI took a 10% stake in AMD. And those calls that these whales loaded only 2 trading days before were already up 300%.
So, yeah.
So these out the money calls, but that's when you project that the price will go up. So let's just say that what was the price at here? Do they have a price here? I don't know if they have what the price was. It was $273. Let's use more clear numbers. Let's say that the price is $100 and you expect it to go up. So you're going to put these OTM calls at like 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, however high you think it's going to go up. And basically what happens is if you put out calls at 110 and the price goes to 150, you're able to, because you have made this bet, you're purchasing it at 110. You're basically saying, I agree to purchase this amount of shares at the price of 110. So when it hits 110, you get the 110. But if it goes to 150, you still get all these shares. Like if you have a jump like this, where it goes immediately, you're getting all these shares. So even if the call comes and it's at 150, you're getting it at 110. So you're getting $40 per share. That's what he's talking about. So somebody saw that somebody called, said like, oh, we're going to see AMD skyrocket in the next few days. This is unusual. This went from I don't know what's down here. Let's call it 160 to 225. That's a massive jump for any stock, any cryptocurrency. That's a massive jump. What's that? $65 jump. So if you're putting millions of dollars into this jump that it doesn't look like it's coming, there's nothing here that says it should be coming. That's just insider trading. You jump in and you make a fortune. Who could have known that was coming?
And those calls that these whales loaded only 2 trading days before were already up 300%.
So, yeah, I just wanted to point out that it's not just crypto where this is happening. Seems like across the board. By the way, I love the title of this. It says this has to be illegal, except I don't think anything's going to happen about it. And that seems to be the rough vibe in the industry recently. It's that like, hey, man, it might not be technically kosher, but if you can get away with it, you're probably fine. And it seems like most people are getting away with it in this market. Even the Nobel Peace Prize isn't safe from people front running. This is the poly market of it. And as you can see, this is where it finally got announced, the winner. But before that, traders were already basically pricing in the fact that somebody knew ahead of time that the person who won was going to win hours before. And they made a bunch of money doing that. So there's insider trading and opportunity to insider trade across the board for people who have that sweet, sweet insider knowledge. And it doesn't seem like a lot's being done about it. In fact, specifically, the smartest thing to do is just know what Donald Trump's going to post on Truth Social ahead of time, since so much of our market is now just moving based on tariff threats. That's like where the real alpha is. It used to be you had to buy a Bloomberg terminal. Now you just have to know what he's going to post ahead of time, which, for the record, I think is a great way to run our economy.
I love how Trump called all his supporters dumb, but because you guys kept showing us. Yeah. Corruption is what is the name here. And it's funny to watch the people in the chat. It's funny to watch you guys like celebrate this because you're just like in the cult and you think that other people complaining. A lot of people are getting rich off of this and it's not you. And when a lot of people get rich and wealth disparity grows, it makes it worse for you. So ironically, like you're cheerleading something that doesn't benefit you. You're not in the know. You wouldn't be here if you were in the know. You're just like the rest of us. We're all in this together where this government is incredibly corrupt and they're doing it right in front of our face. The difference between us and you is when the government is robbing us blind in front of our face, we say, stop it. And when you guys see it, you go, do it harder, daddy. Do it harder because these guys are going to get mad. Can you imagine being a MAGA at this point? Like, yeah, keep fucking this whole thing up because it'll make the libs mad. It'll destroy our lives, but it'll make the libs mad. And I would rather be poor and have no future but have mad libs than live in a country where I have a future. Invest and shut up. I am invest. I do all right in investing. I pulled my money out. All right. Let's get back to the no king stuff. Here's more. This is Senator Roger Marshall, and you'll see this over and over. And I only point this out because it's what like they're all given talking points, and they all have to do the same thing, and they always pick a boogeyman. And this week, the boogeyman is the No Kings protest. They want to make sure that everybody who follows them doesn't care about this No Kings protest. They want to smear it before it happens, and they want to call it violent before it happens. They want to say that it's funded by George Soros before it happens because they know how big this protest is going to be. They know how many millions of people are going to show up. And so they need to do anything they can to get you guys to think that this was organized as by people who oppose Donald Trump, which doesn't make sense, right? Like, billionaires don't oppose Donald Trump. Rich people don't oppose Donald Trump. Those are his closest friends. Scott Bessent, who I just showed you, Treasury Secretary, is a George Soros protege. And he's not the only George Soros protege in the group. Rich people fucking love Trump. It was rich people who traded on insider information and made all of this money. It is rich people in this country who are the only ones who are making money right now. Everybody else is struggling. But that's how dumb they know that you guys are. They all the richest people are like, hey, just tell them that the rich people are funding the opposition. And somebody in the room's got to be like, wait, aren't we the rich people? And they'll never know. They are so fucking stupid. They will never know. They will believe that the No Kings protest is funded by rich people. No, the fuck it's not. No, the fuck it's not. This is the last thing on earth rich people want, is a bunch of people pointing out that our government is corrupt and they don't do the will of the people. You think that's what billionaires are funding right now? They're like, get out there and show the world how corrupt this government is and how it's rigged for rich people. Okay.
And then October 18th is when the protest gets here. This will be a Soros paid-for protest where his professional protesters show up, the agitators show up. We'll have to get the National Guard out. Hopefully it'll be peaceful. I doubt it as well. So I think that they have to...
Hey, somebody mute Ramey. Ramey, we don't do dipshit both sidesism here. Come up with a good point or you don't get to talk. But you're muted for a minute. Anybody who plays both sides during this, they get 1 minute mutes from now. Anybody who says both sides during this segment gets muted for 1 minute.
Get that march done. They have to show their protest. They have to fight like they're saying here. This is all a political show. It's all a political scam right now. This is shooting. And then October 18th.
Remember, guys, it's the billionaires who are funding a protest against billionaires. It's the billionaires who are protesting who are funding a protest that talks about how billionaires have too much in this country. It's the billionaires who are funding this protest, who are protesting against money being paid to our politicians. It's the billionaires that are doing that. They're simultaneously making all the money from this administration and funding the opposition against this administration. Got it. Raise your hand if you're being paid to go on Saturday. Let's see who it is. Here's Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson, obviously, like they're just rolling with this. is this going to pull up? Come on. There we go. Like, is it clear yet that they had a meeting to say, like, no matter what, if you're in front of a microphone, make sure to say that these protests against Donald Trump, that they're not legitimate, that nobody would really protest him, that they have to be funded? Is it clear yet? If it's not, here's Mike Johnson.
Season because of this nonsense, and we're so angry about it. I mean, I'm a very patient guy, but I have had it with these people. They're playing games with real people's lives. The theory we have right now, they have a Hate America rally that's scheduled for October 18th.
That's what it is. It's the Hate America rally. It's called the No Kings rally, which is like as American as it gets. We fucking hate kings over here. It's called the No Kings rally. It's people rallying against the oligarchs, and but Mike Johnson says it's a We Hate America rally.
National Mall. It's all the pro-Hamas wing and the
that's right.
Antifa people. They're all coming out. Some of the House Democrats are selling T-shirts for the event.
Yeah,
and it's being told to us that they won't be able to reopen the government until after that rally because they can't face their rabid base. I mean, this is serious business hurting.
Oh, they can't open the government because the people are pissed? Because the people don't want them to cave and cut health care for millions of Americans? Yeah, the people are speaking, and the Democrats apparently are listening to their people. You guys only listen to Donald Trump. I just want you all to know in the Republican Party, you have no fucking voice. If you disagree with something Donald Trump does, you're gone. You're not in the party anymore. They throw you out of the group. You have literally no voice, and it's never been more clear that there is one side that's listening to the people and one side that's not. If what he's saying is true, which I believe it probably is true for people like Schumer and Pelosi who are saying like, hey, we want to reopen the government, but if we do that, our voting constituent is going to lose it on us. Like, we're toast. Good. That's how this is supposed to work. That's how representative republics are supposed to work, is that the people that we vote for are supposed to do what we want them to do. So that sounds an awful lot like democracy that Mike Johnson is criticizing here. Doesn't that seem an awful lot like democracy? And what he's saying is, oh, these pesky protesters are getting in the way of what we want to do, of what we've decided to do. Why are they protesting us? We're the ones that write these laws. Everybody should just shut the fuck up and do what we want them to do. That sounds pretty anti-democratic to me, Mike. If there's millions of people willing to go to these protests, maybe it's a good idea to hear what they have to say.
Real people. And I'm beyond words. I can't believe they're actually doing this.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Can't believe it. You just can't believe that Democrats don't want to just do whatever he tells them to do. That's crazy. Can't believe that we're using the leverage that we've been given. The tiny bit of leverage that Democrats have. You can't believe that they're using it. And again, to play both sides, why is the government shut down right now? What are they arguing about? They've both told you what they're arguing about. They're arguing about Medicaid money. And they're arguing about ACA subsidies. The one big beautiful bill passed. A lot of Republicans didn't read it. Even Republican members of Congress didn't read it. They didn't know that these ACA subsidies were going to be slashed because they're lazy. And now they're finding out from their constituents that their price is going to double for healthcare. And their constituents are pissed. And now they're not really sure what to do, except for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She'll come out and, I guess, talk about it. And Democrats are going, hey, we tried to tell you, so here's what we'll do. We'll use your anger and our leverage to try and claw back some of this, to make sure that millions of Americans don't see their health insurance double overnight, to make sure that rural hospitals aren't shutting down. We want to claw back this money. And Republicans are saying, we're not going to do it. We have another plan to do this. Okay, what's your plan? We're not going to tell you. We're working on it. So you don't have a plan to fix this? You just want us to take your word for it? That's right. And then they expect us to just like go along with that. But again, it only works in this Republican Party because of you, the cucks. You who defend everything they do. You who refuse to address reality. That your party chose to give tax breaks to billionaires and corporations and subsidies to billionaires and corporations. And in order to pay for that, they had to cut money from poor people, from people, and they had to cut subsidies for people who can't afford health insurance. Cool. You're cucks. You're all cucks for billionaires. You can act tough. You can talk about Pete Hegseth. You can do pull-ups. You can talk about how you're not offended by words or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you are bitches for the billionaires. They tell Donald Trump what to do. Donald Trump does it. You follow blindly and call everybody else who doesn't follow blindly anti-American. I've never seen a bigger group of bitches in my entire fucking life. This is the conglomeration of the ages of just everybody who is dumb and a bitch coming together to vote for and worship Donald Trump together. And that's all your party is. If you don't believe me, we were just showing, like, I just showed the video of CoffeeZilla talking about insider trading, and all the Republicans were like, is this a Trump bashing stream? We weren't even talking about him. We were talking about the person making the trade. If we report news that is unfavorable to our country right now, all of you go, oh, this is anti-Trump. It can't be true. It's only anti-Trump, because all you do is wake up every day and get flooded with everything is so great. Again, just to go back to Germany, there's some really interesting parallels to the early years of the Nazi regime in Germany. And one of those parallels is that as the war started ramping, well, it's like rumors of the war started ramping up. And as the German economy, which was in shambles, wasn't improving. In fact, it was getting worse. What did the Nazis do? Does anybody know? Does anybody know? I didn't say that Barron did the trade. Nathan, you're too fucking stupid. Nathan, hold it real quick. Nathan, you have to acknowledge this or you have to go. I said a lot of people said Barron Trump did the trade. I didn't say that. I didn't literally say Barron Trump did the trade. You have to write in the comments, RTP said people accuse Barron Trump of doing the trade. If you can't write that in the comments, you got to go. You've got about 2 minutes. Mods, will you watch for that? I can't have people this stupid be here because it's distracting. So if you can't hear the words that I say and repeat them accurately, you got to go. You got to find a different place to be. But back to the Germans. What they did during this time when the economy was not stabilizing, it wasn't getting better. In fact, it was getting worse. And that's what Hitler ran on, that I was going to revitalize the economy. What did they do? Does anybody know what they did? They invested in propaganda. They invested in the Hitler Youth. They invested in indoctrination. In indoctrination. They started hosting like all these events where if you were part of the Nazi party, like if you actually had the card and you were a card-carrying Nazi member, you got to go for free to these theaters and you could watch free plays. And those plays obviously were designed to like paint Dear Leader in a good way. They spent a bunch of money to build the hideaway, like the mountain getaway for Hitler. And that was a place where like prominent Nazis could go and they could vacation with Hitler. Does anybody remember what it's called? I can't remember what he called his like mountain getaway. And everybody at the time was like, where did you get that money? Hitler was a nobody. He doesn't have a lot of money. Where did he get that money? And found out that they were raiding the coffers of the Nazi party to do things for Hitler. Where do you think Trump's getting that money for the ballroom? What is Trump doing right now? Took over the Kennedy Center, right? Got rid of Ben Folds. They wanted to rename it the Melania Trump like Center for the Arts. They're just making propaganda. They're holding. They had the military celebration. They're going to have that UFC event at the White House. They're going to throw all these celebrations. They just are going to keep telling you how great things are. And that's why they go out on TV every single day and they're like, we're just winning and everybody's sick of it, when clearly we're not winning. And you wonder as an outsider looking at MAGA, like, how the fuck are they buying this? Because this is what happens every time. They believe what they want to believe, and they don't want to believe that Donald Trump is a dipshit and an autocrat. And so everything that they see is just, we're winning. It's exactly what Hitler did as the country was collapsing, which is happening here. It's absolutely happening here. We are spiraling out of control with debt. Spiraling. We've accelerated the rate of debt. The value of the dollar is down 13%. Our dollar is worth less. All of our trading partners are gone. Our allies mostly don't like us anymore. China is dominating. And what's China doing? Who's China working with right now? Russia. Who was China working with in World War II? Anybody want to take a guess? Yeah, same people, right? Why did we have a bunch of people in America not want to go fight against the Germans? Because they were Nazis too. We had a bunch of Nazis here. And they had a slogan here in this country. You know what their slogan was? America first, baby. America first. But they weren't in power. And so they lost. And so eventually we went over and we joined World War II. But what a lot of people don't realize between World War I and World War II is there was like this consolidation of power. And there were two, you had the Axis and you had the Axis and the Allies, right? Well, right now, the Axis is winning. They're consolidating all the power. Now, Russia's getting slapped with sanctions, but China's figuring out ways around those sanctions, and they're helping Russia. And then they're consolidating all of this goodwill in Africa and in South America. And Trump is saying, like, I got to run to the Middle East. And this goodwill that Trump is getting with the Middle East, he's not actually really providing them anything except for access to U.S. markets. So Trump is racking up money from the Middle East. They will abandon us in a second. As soon as the U.S. markets don't provide them what they want, they'll abandon us. But that's why you see Qatar now over here in Idaho building out a training center, because Trump has decided that the only people he can do business with right now are those in the Middle East who are willing to bribe him and give him cash payments. And maybe Xi's doing the same thing, but we're losing. And Donald Trump and this MAGA fucking administration is just putting out propaganda films, AI-generated propaganda now. We showed you earlier today, pretending that you have this support. They're putting on plays. They're holding events. They're like every weekend, there's some big dinner at the White House. They're trying to bring in all the stars. That's what Trump did as he ran for president. He went podcast to podcast to podcast, and they just sell you this vision that's not actually happening. And eventually, people get so entrenched they don't want to admit that for the last couple of years they've just been watching not reality. They've been watching a staged reality, and they don't want to admit to themselves that they were duped, and so they just go down with the ship. And that's the stage we're at. Like there's MAGA, which will lose eventually. I don't know how long it takes. And the group of people around MAGA, they're going to go down with the ship. No matter how crazy shit gets, they're going to go down with it. And then there's the rest of America. It's not right and left. It's MAGA and people who live in reality. And I think there's way more people that live in reality than exist in MAGA. You cannot look at this country from an economic standpoint or an economic viewpoint and say things are going well. Things are going fucking horrifically. We are bleeding jobs. We're bleeding manufacturing jobs. Wealth inequality is at all-time highs. More Americans now than ever are living with debt. More Americans now than ever are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's getting worse every single month. And yet, this administration goes out on TV, full of billionaires, Scott Bessent, Donald Trump, Howard Lutnick, all of these ultra rich people are going out and they're telling you things are going great, because things are going great for them. They're all accelerating their net worth. They're all accelerating their money, and they're allowed to do it with impunity. There's no repercussions. They can just go out and scam the American people. You better believe that Scott Bessent thinks things are going well. You better fucking believe Howard Lutnick thinks things are going well. You better believe that, I wanted to say Betsy DeVos, but shit, what's her name? Linda McMahon thinks things are going well. All these people with all this money who Trump is allowing to commit crimes, of course they think things are going well. And they're telling you, who are just getting like shit on, it's going well. And you're like, it is? Oh, feels bad, but it must be turning around here sometime soon. Tim said, thank you. Jamar said, actually, it's pronounced dick and vagina. Congratulations, Jamar. I don't know if you want that public, but I follow you on Instagram, so congratulations. You look very handsome and very happy, and I'm very happy for you. Zero said, America doesn't really export anything of significance to have leverage in a trade war. China has all the leverage and has the ability to completely cripple our economy and tech industry. Yeah, I would say that China has been a little bit restrained, to be honest. I think China could have made things a lot worse. China seems to like keep trying to give Trump an out, and he just won't take it. Did you see they're talking about letting 19-year-old Barron take over part of TikTok? No. Is that real? That sucks if that's real. Send me a video on that if that's real, Amy. I haven't seen that. Hoofy said it's nice to watch you live for once. Let's get Jen some screen time. I don't know if Jen wants screen time. Jen gets hit on too much when she jumps on the screen. It's a nightmare in the Discord for her. All right. What do we have left? An hour? Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. So if you could help us knock out that gift goal that's in the top left corner by the end of the live, that would be greatly appreciated. And I will read damn near anything that you say. Here's Morning Joe. Mike Flood went on Morning Joe. He's from Nebraska. And I just got to say, like, Republicans, do you feel like this is a good response? I don't think you guys have answers. The rest of the clips we watched today, I want you to think to yourself, if you want me to believe that you are good faith, all I want you to do is look at each of these clips and say, did they answer the question? Not did they provide an answer, not did they say something, did they answer the question they were asked?
I've seen some reports. The Nebraska Rural Health Association said that it's possible that at least 6 rural hospitals may have to shut down because of the passage of this bill. The Curtis Medical Center, which I think is in your district, also facing some real challenges. You disagree with their conclusions, the Nebraska Rural Hospital Association?
The Curtis Medical Center is a doctor's office in Curtis, a town of 300 people, and it has an average of 4 patients a day.
So fuck them, fuck them. They don't even see that. But there's 300 people and they're seeing 4 people a day. That seems like a very sick community. If there's only 300 people and they're seeing 4 people per day, that seems like a place where people need to see a doctor quite often.
And that is in Adrian Smith's district. So a lot of this got blown out of proportion. I think if you talk to the hospital administrator from McCook, Nebraska, he'd regret joining the fray on that issue, because you talk about Curtis, Nebraska, 300 people, a doctor's office, 4 patients a day.
All right, so let's move on.
Yeah, it's okay, guys. These rural areas, they can go fuck themselves because we got to pay for tax cuts for the billionaires, okay? I think that's a good example there of a time a Republican answered the question. And the answer to the question was, go fuck yourself. Here's J.B. Pritzker pointing out the obvious. JB's doing a good job, I think. I'm not a big JB Pritzker fan, but I think he's doing a good job handling Donald Trump.
We have to step back and recognize that the President of the United States essentially has been pardoning people who are committing violent crimes. He himself is a convicted felon. He'd like to be able to pardon himself, but he was convicted in a state court in New York. Now he's going after the person who convicted him.
This is the Republican. I just want to show the comments here. DNA Nick says, what's so wrong with them going 15 miles away to the hospital next city? What's so wrong with billionaires paying more taxes? Do you think it's more important that people be able to have access? And by the way, there's not a hospital within 15 miles there. I looked it up. It's like a 45-minute drive to the closest hospital. So it's not 15 minutes. But even in your scenario, why don't we just have billionaires pay a little more money so that we don't have to shut down hospitals? But not even like tax them more, just cut some loopholes. Don't give them loopholes that none of us get. They don't need a tax break for buying private jets. They don't need a tax break for buying tanning beds. They don't need a tax break for buying yachts. What if they just paid taxes the same way we did and then we didn't shut these down? This is who Republicans have become. We're shutting down rural hospitals. We can't afford to pay for poor people to see a doctor. And the response is, well, why can't they just drive a little further? But not, why can't rich people just pay what they're supposed to pay? See how it's always this way? This is why I call you guys cucky little bitches. You are cucks for the rich. You're like, well, fuck these poor people. These rich people needed a tax break. That's why I call you cucks to the billionaire class. You're advocating for people who do not give a fuck about you. And you're next, like the chopping block, there's a finite amount of resources. They're going to ask for another tax break, and maybe it'll come at your expense this next time. Maybe your city doesn't need fucking roads. Maybe you guys don't need like internet anymore. Maybe we should just let all that infrastructure die. You guys don't need schools. You don't need a police department. You don't need a fire department. You don't need any of that. What about a town of 20,000 people? What happens when the town of 20,000 people can't support a hospital anymore? Well, why don't they just go to the big city? What you will never do is stop being cucky little bitches to the billionaires. You'll never stop licking their assholes because you think someday it's going to trickle down. But the only thing that trickles down is shit because you're licking a billionaire's asshole. So money doesn't come out of there. It's just shit. That's what it's all over your faces. And you're cucked to that. Real America, being an American, being a tough, blue-blooded American man, that's all about taking whatever the billionaires give us and then tell them thank you. And when people die, when people are sick, that's their own problem. Billionaires needed that money. America.
Because he's so vindictive that and recognizes that he has so much power.
Yeah, that's a good point. When we say eat the rich, we don't mean their asshole. We don't mean eat their asshole. We mean like take away the power structure, take away like all the control that they have because they have all this money. We don't mean stick your tongue into their asshole. We mean make a better system. Maybe that's where it got confusing for the MAGA folks. Maybe they thought like, oh, I'm just supposed to tongue punch Elon Musk's asshole. You're like, nah, that's not what we meant. We didn't mean eat their ass. It was a metaphor. We wanted them to like spread the wealth out a little bit more and be forced to do that because they won't do it. And you're like, but I'm here licking his ass. Isn't this what you wanted? And we're like, no. And you're like, all right, I think I'll just keep licking his ass then. I guess I'll just do that. And I'll go online and I'll defend the billionaires when like sick people can't go see a doctor. I'll just keep defending billionaires. Ripping down your chin. It's gross, guys. You guys are gross.
As the president of the United States, that he can target his political opponents, and he's doing that. He's targeted me. He's targeted the mayor of Chicago. He's targeted lots of folks. We've seen people actually being prosecuted. So this is a dangerous time. The president of the United States is causing mayhem on the grounds in our state. He is going after his political opponents. I don't know why anybody would look at the situation and not recognize that he is moving toward making the United States an authoritarian regime in his own image.
I think it's arrogance, honestly. I think like the public, take out MAGA, take out like those of us who are here that watch this every day. I really do think that like the reason that Trump is able to still do this and the reason that you don't see the level of panic that we would expect is because Americans are arrogant. We think that we're great because we're great. There's just something about Americans that make us better. And these things that happen in other countries, they could never happen to us. And so when people hear somebody like J.B. Pritzker lay this out, and all of these things he just said are factual, like he's a felon, he pardons violent criminals, he wants to take over our cities, he wants us to be afraid, he himself is a criminal who is committing more crimes right now. Most Americans are like, there's no way that could happen. My two buddies that I talk to regularly, like every day in a group text, it's been kind of wild the last 3 months to watch their opinions evolve because they're like conservative adjacent, but they're not MAGA. They're not really even political at all. They just live in a conservative area. So watching the information that they get and then they process and now they're learning like, oh shit, there's other places to get information. Watching them like slowly realize, oh fuck, this wasn't hyperbole. They're just really doing this. I think that's the barrier that we have to overcome. And I think that we're getting there. I think that like everyday Americans don't like when you tell them, hey, Trump put these tariffs on China and now our soybean farmers are all losing their crops and they're going to go bankrupt. And then we bailed out Argentina and now they're selling the soybeans to China instead. And they're selling it at a markup. Everyday Americans are like, wait, what? No, that's insane. What are we doing? We can't do that. We got to stop that. As it becomes more in the public eye, as more people are talking about it, if you're not MAGA, if you're not a cuck to the billionaire class, if you're not just like, if you didn't check out from thinking for yourself a long time ago, I think most Americans are seeing it and they're like, oh shit, oh, it's real? I understand, like I really do. I guess and maybe this is just like how I survive, but like we've been saying this for years and nobody believed us. But nobody's going to believe you until it happens. Now it's happening. And that's why Americans are waking up. That's why this No Kings protest is going to be massive. My whole street, my whole neighborhood is going to the No Kings protest. They're like caravanning to the No Kings protest. They're going to go to the one in Payson. One of them is a preacher who had Trump signs in their yard, had to have their Trump signs taken down because of an HOA. But like they've been Trump lovers forever, and they're going. Like they've abandoned him. Regular Americans are abandoning this administration because of exactly what JB Pritzker is saying. Like it's apparent now. You can watch it happening in real time. And then when they do it, and you watch them do something, they go on TV and they lie right to your face. And this is a point I think JB Pritzker he made an excellent point here. And this is the part that I'm trying to double down on, and I think it's something that we should share. When something happens and they lie, and it's an obvious lie, play the clips of them lying. Don't play the clip of your favorite content creator who's like, they lied about this. Just play the clip side by side of something happening and them lying about it happening.
What's striking is they're doing this in broad daylight, some cases busy intersections during rush hour. Does that add to the claim that perhaps they're doing this on purpose to provoke?
It's clear that they are doing it on purpose to provoke it. And I should add that they lie every time they do one of these things. They claim that something happened that didn't really. We saw a WGN producer being, handled in a way that you wouldn't see a trained police officer do. And they're going after people. You heard, of course, the shooting and killing of the man in Franklin Park, where at first they said the officer was seriously injured and being dragged, and then later you heard no serious injuries. But the initial report out of ICE was this release that said something terrible had happened by this man that they shot and killed. So you can tell they lie every time, it seems like. So we can't believe it when they say it. We do have to do our own investigations. And that's why it's so vital that people are pulling out their phones and filming.
Never stop filming. Don't stop going. Do you see the Republican? Who was that? There was somebody in here that was like, well, what's your plan then? Why do I need a plan for you to stop supporting a shitty one? I have a plan. But what I would advocate for would spend less money. But the question is, why do you guys watch an absolute fucking train wreck and we point it out and you go, okay, then what's your plan? Why don't you just stop supporting a shitty one? I'm not asking you guys to become Democrats. I'm not asking you guys for a plan. Do you think that you have to support a plan? If a plan's not working, fucking abandon it. What part of Trump's plan is working here? Can you afford more? No. Are you making more money on average? No. Is the value of the dollar up? No. Everything financially is worse. What's better in this country? I'm not telling you that you have to trust Chuck Schumer. I wouldn't trust Nancy Pelosi. I don't. But just because Chuck Schumer doesn't have a better plan doesn't mean you keep supporting a really fucking shitty one. It's not working. Literally, no plan is better than this plan. This plan is accelerating everything. Donald Trump just sitting there shitting his pants and saying nothing would be much better than what he's doing now. The less this man acts, the better. I wish he would get lost in a cornfield and nobody would be able to find him. I wish that he would just ramble into a microphone that's not attached. More than anything, I wish this government would do absolutely fucking nothing, because everything they've done has made it significantly worse. Amy said there's a reason folks in red states die on average 10 years younger than in a blue state. Don't have access to healthcare. Jen, did I see you or hear you jumping in?
Yep.
Hey.
So we've got someone waiting to talk to you.
Oh, fun.
So want to remind everybody that when these conversations go on, the gift goal sometimes gets forgot. So we've got about 45 minutes left of the show. So the number I have is 166 left in the gift goal for the day. So if you guys could help us out with that, with everybody that's here, if we all send $1, we'd knock it out in no time. So that'd be sweet. And then yeah. So he's waiting.
Okay. Brian, nobody was arrested on January 6th, actually. So we're clear on that. They got arrested later. And I don't know who was innocent. Just give me the names of the people on J6 that were innocent, though. I'd be happy to hear that. You said they were in... Okay. There we go. Night Guy.
What's up, man?
You hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
So, I was in the chat earlier, and I said that both sides are screwing you, and then you were like, oh, don't play the both sides, time out anybody that says both sides, right? And I couldn't really explain everything I wanted to say in like the YouTube chat, so that's why I wanted to like come on and talk about why I think both sides are basically screwing everybody. It's not just I think you called them billionaire cucks.
Yeah.
So I can start on each side, really. I'll start with the Republicans.
No, just start with the left. Actually, we both agree the Republicans are fucking us. So let's start on the side that maybe we don't agree on.
Okay. Democrats. One example would be Party of the Working Class.
What is that?
While being,
what does that mean?
That they say they're the party of the working class.
Both parties say that.
And,
Both parties say that.
Well, Democrats say that.
So do Republicans.
Okay, fine. You want to talk about tax the rich?
Yeah,
Let's talk about taxing the rich.
Let's talk about it.
So Democrats promote taxing the wealthy, but yet they carve out loopholes for their rich billionaire friends. And I can give some examples of that.
Yeah, but if you remember correctly, what my statement is that both sides is a good argument usually. It's not a good argument right now. And I would just point to the fact that Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And so,
yeah, but what's the difference when the Democrats get back into power?
Let me just finish. And so, when I say right now, both sidesism is a stupid fucking argument, I'm saying right now it's a stupid fucking argument. Right?
Yeah, but
so then why would we even waste time with it right now if it doesn't apply right now?
Because the issue is the two-party system.
No, the issue the issue that I'm talking about today is Donald Trump being an absolute fucking autocrat, and every time that we point out that he's doing something that is harmful, a bunch of people get in the chat and go, "It's actually both sides," and it's not. In fact, I would argue that there has never been a time in American history where a party was completely beholden to one man. Completely. Whatever. All they do is whatever Donald Trump tells them to do. Could you think of one thing Republicans have done that Donald Trump didn't want them to do?
That he didn't want them to do?
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is probably the Epstein stuff. I know.
What have they done with they haven't done anything with the Epstein stuff. It's still not released.
Well, he didn't. Oh, you mean that? Okay. I get what you're saying. I can't really think of anything that. There's a couple Republicans that have went against Donald Trump, but not very many.
Right. What happens to them when they do?
Well, they'll just put somebody to run against him. I think Tillis is retiring. He's not running again, I don't think.
Can you give me some examples of times that like Democrats did that?
That specific?
Yeah.
Let's see. Looks like Tulsi Gabbard is an example.
Of what?
She was ostracized by the Democratic Party.
Yeah, but not for disagreeing with Biden, right?
Bernie Sanders.
Not for disagreeing with
Andrew Cuomo.
Not for disagreeing with both Tulsi Gabbard and Cuomo were both ostracized for. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard's a little different. Tulsi Gabbard was ostracized because she wasn't a Democrat. Like she didn't agree with the stuff that they stood for. So by ostracized, you mean she ran for president and nobody gave a fuck, and she got like no votes. And Cuomo was run out because Cuomo was a sex pest, and so they ran him out because he's a sex pest. In the Republican Party, if you're a sex pest, nothing happens to you, right? Like sexual harassment's no big deal, right?
It looks like she was ostracized because she criticized the DNC.
No, she wasn't. She was losing. She didn't get a
It says
single
here,
vote.
Gabbard criticized the DNC for bias against Bernie Sanders in 2016.
Then
later broke with the party on foreign policy.
Yeah, she was
ostracized by the DNC, excluded from debates, and targeted by smear campaigns, labeling her a Russian asset.
First of all, that's not true. She was there for debates. She didn't qualify for debates because she didn't have support. But again, even there, like what I asked you for is somebody getting primaried because they disagreed with the president. Do you see how hard that is for you to find an example of that? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. See how hard it is to find an example of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I say both sides is silly.
I'm not on either side really. So
I know, because and this is what my point was. I think that you choosing not to take a side right now is a point of privilege, and if you know a lot, then it's cowardice. If you don't know a lot, it's just privilege. But we're in a situation now that is unprecedented. And that's why I got upset when people come in and say both sides. Because when I give you an opportunity to do the both sides, you don't have a both sides. I don't know how.
Well, yeah, because like,
go ahead.
Let's say it flips Democrat. I mean, it's the same thing. They're two heads of the same coin.
No, it's not, because it just was Democrat. And did we have National Guard in cities?
Well, that's each side doing what they want to do.
Let me just do this. Hold on, stay with me. Did we have National Guard in cities? Did we have a trade war with China?
Oh my God! So you're just mad at these specific things. You're not mad at the overall picture.
I'm mad at the overall. No, because the overall picture,
30-something billion and a trillion in debt, and
yes,
that either side is not doing anything about it.
I am mad about that. You just don't know. Okay, so when
it just
Obama,
sounds
excuse
like
me,
you're
hold
just
on. When Obama was president, the deficit was getting smaller. Deficit spending was getting smaller every year. It was getting closer to zero every year. Then when Trump came in, he exploded it. And we got further away from zero every year. And Biden, despite having 2 bailouts that he had to pay for, we were getting closer to having to zero when it came to deficit spending. And Trump's exploded
so they're
that.
bailing out billionaire
so if
banks,
I say,
but yet they want to tax the rich.
So if I say that they're not the same, and I can show you that one side reduces deficit spending and the other side does the opposite of that, then they are not the same, sir. Donald Trump's plan will increase deficit spending. It will accelerate deficit spending. That's bad. Right?
So when the Democrats want to bail out these billionaire banks,
when?
You're okay
when did that happen?
with
No, when did that happen? Wait, excuse me.
Billionaires.
When did that happen?
But yet
excuse
you're calling everybody in your chat a cuck.
Excuse me. When did that happen?
2008, Obama, they bailed out the banks when they went under.
I got bad news for you, brother. Who was president in 2008?
Obama was president.
Bush was president. Bush bailed out the banks. You can go watch. It's called. I think it's called The Meltdown. You can go watch it. It was Bush and Bernanke negotiating with the big banks, and they chose to bail out the big banks. This was a big selling point for Obama. Obama ran on this. I was a Republican at this time. I remember it very well. So now what? Do you see how all your whataboutisms keep falling apart? And this is what I say. This is a privilege for you. You want to believe it's everybody because that lazy type of take.
No, it's everybody.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Here, let me talk then. Let me talk then.
That was the middle of my sentence. Shut the fuck up in the middle of my sentences, okay?
I'm a campaign.
And then, I'm going to mute you. No, this is the middle of my sentence.
And raise capital gains.
This is the middle of my sentence. This is the middle of my sentence. This is the middle of my sentence. Let me finish, and then you can go, okay? Be an adult.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. When you say...
Well, you've been cussing at me the whole time.
I cuss. So. It's what I do. Get over it. Be tougher. When I say that your whataboutisms don't make
get over me interrupting you then. Quit being a bitch about it.
You can call me a bitch when you're done. My rule is you can cuss as much as you want. We just don't interrupt. When you say both sides do it, and then you give me examples that only the Republicans are doing, what I'm pointing out here is that you don't seem to know very much. And so my criticism of people like you is that you don't know anything and you think it's like a smart take to be like, oh, it's both sides. And it just is you not doing any research. It's just you having a very fucking lazy take that makes you feel better than other people. So you come onto a stream like this where we do our homework, and I prepare every day for this, and I understand what I'm talking about, and I think it's a brain-dead, lazy take for you to come in and say it's both sides. And when I ask you for examples of both sides, you can't even get the years right. You can't even get who did. You can't even get almost there.
You kept interrupting me, bro.
Almost there. I'm going to give you your chance.
You're
going to have a chance in a second. Chill.
You kept interrupting me. No, you kept interrupting me.
I heard
you. You keep on talking, bro. Let me talk. You keep on talking.
Hey, shut.
You just keep on talking, bro.
Up until my sentence is done.
Let me talk then. You're
gonna get your chance. There was 8 more words. Just chill.
Shut the fuck up and talk then, and then you can talk. It's your channel.
Nobody pays for you to talk. So let me finish, and then I'll give you your plenty of time to talk.
Yeah, I'm sure you're getting paid to talk too. Right?
I am getting paid to talk. You can watch people pay me in real time, bitch. You can watch it in real time. You can watch people pay me. Are you gonna let me finish, or are you just gonna be a hysterical little bitch? Which one are you gonna do? You want to bounce? You want to leave, or do you want to have this conversation?
Go ahead, keep going, man.
Great. So when you talk about both sides, and you can't name both sides, and the both sides argument that you just used was actually another Republican, I think that you're not educated enough on this topic. I think my point stands. Now it's your turn.
Okay. So every time I bring something up, you wanna go around it. So let's talk about the insider trade. You were talking about insider trading just a minute ago.
I was.
Let's talk about insider trading.
No, I wasn't.
You were watching the you were watching the CoffeeZilla video about the insider trading.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant just right now. Yeah.
Let's talk
about insider trading.
All right, so Nancy Pelosi. I think that's pretty normal. She's definitely insider trading.
What's your evidence of that?
Let's talk about my evidence of that.
Yeah,
sure. She pretty sure she bought. Let's see here. I want to say it was Visa. Let's go look at Nancy Pelosi's trading.
And by Nancy Pelosi's trading, you obviously mean her husband's trading, right?
Well, I mean, I guess they're combined, so yeah.
Well, that's his job, right? You recognize that that's what he does for a living?
So you're saying that Nancy Pelosi does not insider trade at all, not one time ever?
No, I don't think that. I think that she probably does. I'm just wondering if you have any evidence on it.
So you're
I'm asking you for evidence.
In bad faith, because every time I say something, you say no, and then you just said, well, yeah, I do think she's insider trading.
No, I said no. What I said is I think she probably does, and I want evidence. You'll notice I didn't accuse Trump of insider trading, and I didn't even accuse this person, whoever's making those trades, of insider trading. I asked for a different explanation.
I'm sure he does too.
Okay, but see, if you understand that story is that for some reason Trump is feeding information, like the president somehow fed information to somebody, or somebody took the information the president was giving and fed it to them, and they made these trades. And I think that we should look at that. And if that person happens to be somebody in Trump's orbit, like his son, then that's a crime, and it shouldn't be allowed. And I don't care if you investigate Nancy, and I don't care if we investigate Nancy Pelosi either. In fact, there have been a lot of people who have tried to. I have no problem with that. But still, even this, with you're saying, I think what you're talking about is like the 2000 shares of Visa that she purchased, right? Is that the story that you're talking about?
Yeah, was that right after they made I want to say it was right after some sort of or right before some sort of hearing that was she was a part of to
the government sued sued Visa, and so like a month or two before the government sued Visa, they dumped a bunch of shares. So potentially,
Yeah,
and I'm
and
fine
that
with that,
wasn't-
and I'm fine with that being investigated. I'm fine with that, but that's not what I'm accusing Trump of. What I accuse Trump of is running 2 Ponzi schemes at a time and publicly accepting bribes, where his family gets a bunch of money and then he does something for the people who gave his family a bunch of money.
Dude, all politicians do that.
I've never seen a president do that. Could you give me an example? So the example is the UAE. The UAE wanted access to NVIDIA chips, who Donald Trump has taken a 10% share in their company, and he has to approve if NVIDIA chips are going to be sold to other countries, right? So they wanted these NVIDIA chips, and Donald Trump, they needed Donald Trump's approval. So they went and they spent $2 billion and invested it into World Liberty Financial, where Trump, not only does he does that prop up his company, World Liberty Financial, but he also makes money off of the fee for buying that crypto. So he gets a 1 to 3% fee on that exchange. He makes hundreds of millions of dollars on that one exchange, and then he gives them access to the chips. Could you give me an example from so
you talking about that AI chips?
Yes. So could you give me an example from, it's got to be a president. So in our lifetime, Obama, Bush, Clinton. Could you give me an example of any president ever getting money funneled into their family business and then cutting a deal that only they could cut and giving approval to like a foreign country or a business? Can you give me any example of a president who did something similar to that, even on a smaller scale?
Sure. Yeah, didn't Joe Biden put pressure on Ukraine about a prosecutor?
Yes.
I mean,
and what did he get for that?
He got his weren't they looking into corruption?
Yeah, Burisma. It was a company called Burisma in Ukraine, and his son was on the board.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden wanted that
How
process.
is that not the same? I mean,
I'll explain
regardless
I'll explain it.
of what the item is.
I'll explain it. What did Joe Biden threaten? He said, you got to fire this prosecutor if this prosecutor doesn't do what?
They were looking into the corruption.
No, he said if this prosecutor doesn't investigate, because the accusation was that that this prosecutor was a Russian plant and refused to investigate corruption, specifically Russian corruption into Ukraine. And so the owner of Burisma was accused of being a Russian plant, and the prosecutor refused to investigate Burisma. And Joe Biden and all of our allies said, not just Burisma, but this prosecutor needs to investigate all of these companies who have ties to Russia. And the prosecutor said no. And Joe Biden said, we're not going to give you guys, we're not going to sell you weapons anymore if you don't do it. The prosecutor said no. They fired the prosecutor. And where do you think that prosecutor went after they were fired?
I have no fucking clue.
They fled Ukraine. What country do you think they went to?
I have no idea.
Russia.
What, Russia?
Russia. Where do you think the owner of Burisma went once he was investigated? Where do you think he fled to once he was investigated?
He went back to Russia?
Russia. And was it was Burisma eventually, and was Burisma investigated? Yeah. And what did they find? They found exactly what they expected, that there was a backdoor channel with Burisma and the investigator from Russia, and that Russia was Russia was in the midst of attempting a hostile takeover of Ukraine. Before they invaded, they wanted to try and do a hostile takeover. So they started influencing people within the Ukrainian government and were putting people in positions of power so that they could do a hostile takeover. And they actually had a friend in America that was helping them with that. Do you know the name Paul Manafort?
No.
Okay, Paul Manafort was working with the Russian government to try and infiltrate these Ukrainian companies and members of the government in Ukraine to be more pro-Russia. And a lot of people believed that he was very corrupt, that he was paying people off, and that this was Russia's attempt to basically annex Ukraine without having to go to war. Now, when all this corruption was exposed, the Ukrainian people had a revolt, and they were like, no, fuck that. We're not letting Russia take over. And so they ran out all of these Russian people. And all these Russian people that were in the Ukrainian government, they all fled. And that's when they brought in Zelensky. Where did Paul Manafort go? Any ideas what country he fled to? He got a new job.
Where did he go?
He went to the United States he went to the United States of America, and he took a new job. Do you know what his job was?
What's that?
He was the campaign manager for Trump's first election. And then we investigated him for his ties to Russia in the election, and he pled guilty. And then he got pardoned by Trump. So all of this investigation, Joe Biden got nothing from it. Hunter Biden got nothing from it. In fact, Hunter Biden's not on the board of Burisma anymore. They probably lost money. Like Hunter Biden probably lost money on this, or at least lost connections. $0.00. Joe Biden actually advocated for his son's company to be investigated. And this is why I say, like, your lack of research is why you say both sides. Because you think that it's both, because it seems like both sides if you don't dig into it. On the surface, it seems like it's both sides, but it's not both sides. Not this level of corruption.
How is it not both sides when Democrats are talking about climate activism, but yet they're flying in private jets? They own multiple mansions.
Brother, what?
And then diversity and equity.
Brother, what? Brother, wait, whoa. We are talking about financial corruption from the president, and you just went to climate activists. This is what I'm talking about. You're not comparing two things. I'm talking about the president of the United States. Hold on. Let me just explain.
I'm talking about both sides overall.
Okay, well then give me an example.
Overall,
okay,
you can cherry pick.
Okay, give me an example then. Give me an example. Okay, hold on. Give me an example then. Give me an example of a climate activist who has his own or has their own private plane and multiple mansions that works in the United States government.
Pretty sure what's his name? John Kerry. I'm pretty sure he was grilled a few times for his Are
you mixing up Al Gore or John Kerry? Which one?
No, John Kerry.
Does John Kerry have his own private plane?
Yes, sir, he does.
He does? You sure?
Yeah.
Let's see.
He flies private. Yes, sir.
You know, he doesn't own a private jet.
He flies private.
Yeah. Do you know who John Kerry's wife is?
He flies private.
I know, but I asked you if he had a private jet.
Whether he owns one or not, these people talk about climate.
How's this the same as Donald Trump directing chips to be sold and then privately benefiting from this? How is John Kerry real quick? How is
you're acting like I'm a Trump supporter or something?
Real quick. Well, you sound like
I don't give a fuck about either side.
Real quick.
That's the thing. You're talking to me like I'm a Trump supporter or something.
Real quick. What we're talking about right now is somebody abusing their role in government to enrich their family. Are you saying that John Kerry is?
So the Clinton done that?
What did
Joe Biden hasn't done that?
No, Joe Biden has. There's no evidence that Joe Biden has done that. None.
You don't think that?
I asked you for evidence. You gave me Burisma.
You don't think that?
Hey, give me the evidence.
You don't think that none of these politicians are getting rich off us?
What's the evidence?
You don't think nobody? You think these politicians are just fucking saints, don't you?
Brother, screaming general.
They don't do nothing. They don't insider trade.
You're spiraling.
They don't fuck us on deals.
You're spiraling, bud.
You just think these guys? You just suck the dick of all. You're just sucking Hillary's clitoris every night, aren't you?
Big feelings.
You just deep throating that 2-inch clitoris of Hillary, aren't you?
It's weird how it's weird.
You just think these people are fucking saints.
You let me know when you're done.
Oh my God, they are just so great.
You let me know when you're
done. I am just so deranged by Trump, and I just love the Democratic Party. They don't do anything wrong.
All right, I'll ask the question again. What is the evidence you have that Joe Biden enriched himself by using the government?
Let's see here.
Yeah, let's see here.
Let's look at Joe Biden's
and remember that
net worth.
Since we're comparing the two, what we're going to compare is you got to show me Joe Biden making a decision as president that personally enriched his own business. This is going to be hard to find because Joe Biden doesn't own a business. It's going to be hard. But even if it's not a business, just like, where's the money that Joe Biden got? Where is it? Are you concerned
I don't
at all?
know. Maybe
are you concerned
maybe
at
he
all?
does. Maybe he does the same thing that Nancy does, and just have his family members do everything.
Do you recognize that I'm able to point to exact?
Dirty politician. Why would I do anything myself?
well,
Why wouldn't I just have my family do it?
Well, I can point to exact instances with exact dollar amounts with Trump. Does it concern you that you can't point to any exact instances or dollar amounts?
Okay, go ahead. Show me what you're talking about.
I already did.
No, okay. Go back over it again. What did you say he personally gained off these chips again?
Okay, do you know
him himself?
Do you know what world? Do you know what World Liberty Financial is?
World Liberty Financial.
Yeah, look it up. What do they do, and who owns it? I can pull it up on my screen while we're going to. I know you can't see it, but then everybody can see. Ooh. Did you find it out? Who owns World Liberty Financial?
The crypto company.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is a founder, and Steve Witkoff.
Okay,
They're
so
founders.
So the special envoy to the Middle East, that's Steve Witkoff's job right now, is he works for Donald Trump in the government to the Middle East. His son and Trump's sons run the day-to-day operations of World Liberty Financial. Now I want you to Google UAE World Liberty Financial and just tell me what pops up. Whoops. I'm going to do this at the same time as you.
Yeah.
What pops up?
What'd you say? UAE?
Yeah. UAE. What?
And World Liberty Financial?
Yep. You can just read the AI overview if you want.
AI is kind of funky.
Okay. Well, you can read the articles if you want. I can read this to you. In May, Zach Witkoff.
Yeah, read it. Go ahead.
Zach Witkoff announced the first of the deals at a conference in Dubai. One of Sheikh Tanoon's investment firms would deposit $2 billion into World Liberty Financial. 2 weeks later, the White House agreed to allow the UAE access to hundreds of thousands of the world's most advanced and scarce computer chips, a crucial tool in the high-stake race to dominate artificial intelligence. Many of the chips would go to G42, a sprawling technology firm controlled by Sheikh Tanoon, the same guy who gave World Liberty Financial $2 billion. So Trump's company gets $2 billion, and then the same person gets access to chips that have to be approved by Donald Trump, and they go to his business. Nothing to see here, right? So do you see how that worked? They paid $2 billion to get access to chips that they needed Trump to give them. See that?
Let me go back to the world. Let's see the breakup of the ownership. Let's see.
It's 60% is owned by Trump's company. So 60% is owned by Trump's company, which is like DT Marks DeFi LLC.
It says Trump affiliated. Let's see DT Marks. Let's look them up.
Okay. Who owns 70% of DT Marks? In fact, the owners. Trump, right? Trump owns 70%. And who are the other owners?
See, yeah, he owns 70.
And who are the other owners?
And his son.
Don
Fluctuating ownership.
Don Jr., Eric, and Barron. They have the remaining ownership. So 30% to them, 70% to Donald. And then collectively they own 60% of World Liberty Financial. The other, I think 40% is mixed between the Witkoffs and some other people. And so they took $2 billion from UAE and then sold them chips that only the government could approve. Huh. Pretty bad, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. I really don't say this stuff because, like, just so you know, I'm not a Democrat. If you watch this show a lot, you would know that I fucking hate the Democrats. I can't stand Nancy Pelosi. I can't stand Chuck Schumer. I can't stand all of them because I think that they are exactly what you accuse them of. That they pretend that they stand for things, and when push comes to shove, they protect themselves or they protect their donors. I think that they are dog shit. But Donald Trump is the worst. And Donald Trump runs the entire Republican Party, which we've already said. Like, if you go against him, then you get run out. He literally has told all of the Republicans that if they vote to release the Epstein files, he will view that as an attack on his administration, and they will be primaried. And all the while, he's making this. By the way, this is just one deal. The millions of dollars that he's raked in over the Trump coin and the Melania coin. While as president, he says things like the people who spend the most money, the 250 top spenders that buy my cryptocurrency, get a private meeting with me, the president of the United States. He's also openly said now is the time you should invest. He's publicly, from his platform, advocated for people investing in World Liberty Financial and cryptocurrencies that they hold. He's the most corrupt president in the history of our country. And that's why I say that, like, right now, both sidesism is lazy. I agreed with that when it was. Probably agreed with that when it was before Trump. But Trump is by far and away the most corrupt president on earth. And what I would hope that we would learn is that when this is all said and done, and we all have to fix all of the loopholes that Donald Trump has exposed, that we go even further and we close up the loopholes that have allowed Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Marjorie Taylor Greene and that idiot from Oklahoma that does really well in trading. I hope none of them are allowed to trade stocks ever again. But right now, this is unprecedented.
Yeah, but don't you think that if we keep complaining, if people don't see that all these people are not good for our country, people on the right are so worried about people on the left. People on the left are so worried about people on the right. But yet they're not seeing that these people are not going to fix $34 trillion in debt.
Right, I agree with that, but one side clearly makes it worse, and the Republicans make it worse. Did you know that, like, I think at the end of this year, 60% of all debt that we have can be attributed to two pieces of legislation. Do you know what those two pieces of legislation are?
I'm guessing one of them is COVID. That's what I'm guessing.
The Trump tax cuts and the Bush tax cuts. Because tax cuts are a way to not pay our bills. Just when you look at it, like, we have bills that we have to pay every single year. And if you cut,
but Biden kept some of those tax cuts.
He did keep some of those tax cuts because he couldn't change them. But if you look at deficit spending with Joe Biden and Donald Trump, you'll see that we were moving towards zero and away from zero with Trump. Again, I don't think Democrats are fiscally responsible, but they are fiscally more responsible than Republicans. However, we could end all of this stuff if we could get all of these MAGA folks to get off the Trump train. We could unite. Trump is the one thing causing people to not unite right now. I promise you, there's not a single Democrat right here that watches my show regularly that gives a single solitary fuck about Joe Biden, about Nancy Pelosi, about Chuck Schumer, about the Democratic Party. Nobody gives a fuck about that. If Donald Trump wasn't such a catastrophic failure, the Democrats would probably be more focused on how bad their leadership is. And it's bad. It's really fucking bad. Because our leadership, just like the Republicans, our leadership is also owned by big corporations and foreign lobbyists like Israel. So we could come together, but what requires us, it requires a lot of people saying Donald Trump's different. This is different. This is a new thing. But we can't both sides this to death because Donald Trump will never stop doing this. He'll never stop. He's not doing this to get back at Democrats. He's not doing this because they did. He's doing it because he's a narcissist and he wants all the money, and all the people funding him want all the money too, and they're openly defying the law. I think the thing, we don't have to come together on Democrats or Republicans, right or left. We should be able to come together on the fact that Donald Trump is selling influence to benefit himself to the tune of billions of dollars. He's made, depending on estimates, somewhere between $6 and $15 billion from this presidency. In 10 months, he's made between $6 and $15 billion. That's more than Nancy Pelosi over the course of 20 lifetimes. He's corrupt on a level we've never seen before. So we have to stop this. Like, go ahead.
But when he's out of office, right, and shit doesn't change, I mean, because he'll be gone soon. He'll be gone soon.
Maybe he says he's going to run again.
I mean, the only way I could see him running is if he was vice president.
That's not what he says. That's not what he says. See, this is the problem. Like, when Trump says stuff, and this is why I think that people think that you're a Trumper. And I do think, whether you think you're a Trumper or not, you hold him to a standard that you don't hold anybody else to. If Nancy Pelosi said, if Joe Biden,
you said you wanted to talk about Democrats. I first was going to start off with Republicans.
Hold on.
And you first started wanting to talk about Democrats.
Just let me get the point out, and you can decide.
I am not a Trumper. I did not vote.
Hold on. Let me get the point out, and you decide if once the point is out.
Go ahead.
The reason people think you're a Trumper is because when he says something, you are choosing a different interpretation than what he says. But if Nancy Pelosi said that, if she, let's just say, or Hillary Clinton, let's say that she served 2 terms as president, and she's like, I'm actually going to run again. I'm going to run for a 3rd term. You wouldn't go, she's just kidding around. I can't see her actually doing that. You'd be like, she thinks she's going to be fucking president again. But Donald Trump is such a magnificent liar, and he says so many crazy things that there's this other standard for Trump that nobody else has. Nobody else could say, I'm running for a 3rd term, except for him. And you just did the thing where you're like, I don't believe him when he says that. That's why I say people confuse you for a Trumper, whether you are or not, because you took his words and you chose to believe that he didn't really mean it.
Yeah, but Trump's been trolling everybody.
He's not trolling. I mean, he's not trolling. No.
He posts
he's not trolling.
His social media.
Why do you think he's trolling?
Trolls everybody.
Give me an example of something he was trolling about.
Sure.
I think you think he's trolling. I think you don't know that he's serious.
He posted, let me go find it.
Is there a possibility that you just think he's trolling and you don't know that he's serious?
I mean, dude, he was trolling. Like,
no. Answer my question, please. Is there a chance that he wasn't trolling and you just don't think he's serious? No.
Let me find what I'm talking about.
I understand what you're talking about.
It wasn't like he said something and like.
No, let's talk about this. 2028. When he says I'm running in 2028, why do you think he's kidding?
Because he can't run.
Why?
Because he's already ran his 2 terms.
Okay. Would you be surprised to know that they have a plan for him running a 3rd term?
What's that?
Well, here's Steve Bannon. You can't see this, but you should be able to hear this.
So let me ask you about Trump 2028. We have a 22nd Amendment, which...
Can you hear this?
I cannot. What's the video called?
It's a Twitter link.
Oh,
actually, there's a way I can do this, actually. Let me do this real quick and share it with you. Then you'll be able to hear it. All right. Now you should be able to hear it.
So let me ask you about Trump 2028. We have a 22nd Amendment, which bars anybody from running for a third term. Do you think that that's not a barrier for him, or how do you see that?
I think that there are many different alternatives that at the appropriate time after the midterms in 26, we will roll out. But I think there are many different alternatives to make sure that President Trump is on the ballot. And if he's on the ballot, he'll win.
So they're not joking about it. They're actually trying to, like, they have a plan in place.
Crazy.
What's that?
Steve Bannon's a fucking retard.
Well, first of all, please don't say that on this stream. It's not a stream where we do that. Second of all, like, Steve Bannon has worked for the Trump administration. Steve Bannon is in constant contact with Trump. He's an advisor to Trump. I agree with you. I think he's a lunatic, but he's a person that gets listened to in this administration.
I don't see it happening, but I mean, if I'm wrong, then and he does, then it's not right.
But this is my this is my point.
This isn't like what's his name from back in the
But this is the point. Like, Trump says he'll run again. He's literally selling merch that says Trump 2028. He's openly talking about it, and his advisors are talking about it. And every time his advisors are asked about running in 2028, none of them ever say no. They all say, we're looking at that. We think there may be a way for him to run in 2028. And you wouldn't give anybody else the benefit of the doubt like this. This is a crazy thing that you're giving him benefit of the doubt for. He's saying he's going to do it. And again, I'm just pointing out that, like, you hold a different standard. This is why. Hold on, real quick. Let me finish. You hold a different standard for Trump, and this country holds a different standard for Trump because he's such a fucking lunatic. And this is where, like, I think that the country has just decided we're so arrogant that we don't think that something like this could happen to America. And so because people don't want to believe that Trump is exactly who he says he is, we pretend that when he says things like, I'm running in 2028, normal people like yourself are like, he's probably just kidding. But he's not kidding. He hasn't been kidding about any of this stuff. He openly does all this stuff that he said that you guys, not you guys, but Trumpers once said he was kidding about. And now he's doing it, and suddenly it's not a joke. I remember being laughed at every day and being mocked every day because we talked about Project 2025. And not only are they doing it, Trump is openly admitting now, yeah, this is what we're doing. It was Project 2025 the whole time. Even though I lied to you and said that we weren't doing Project 2025, here it is.
So, back to what I was saying. Look, I don't support either side. I don't. I think people that ride Trump's meat are weird. Now, when I say he trolls a lot, he posts a lot of, like, trolling stuff on his social media. And now,
but he's the president, dude. He's the president. What kind of adult human being does that? That's what I'm saying. That's a psycho. That's a psycho person. No, nobody else does it. Nobody else does it.
Me anymore.
Who else does that?
So, I mean, social media has made everybody numb to all this.
Who else
stuff,
does that? Who else does it?
Do what?
The type of trolling. What other president has ever done that? Did Joe Biden do that?
Well, Joe Biden couldn't even talk. So
Donald Trump is incoherent. Nothing Donald Trump says makes any fucking sense. That's crazy.
Not as bad as Biden, though. Biden
a million times, a million times worse.
I've heard
no,
Trump,
this is just one. Trump. Hold on. I want, like, if I read you a transcript of Trump, do you think you can pick any day? Do you think you're going to be able to explain to me? Let's do this. Give me a date before when Joe Biden was president. I'll pull a transcript. Give me a date when Trump was president. I'll pull a transcript. I'm going to guess that you won't be able to tell me what the fuck Trump is talking about, but you will be able to tell me what Joe Biden's talking about. You want to take that bet?
So I find something.
No, I'll find it. You just give me a date.
Then
I'll do it here.
A date?
Give me a date when Joe Biden was president. Give me one date.
February 3rd, 2022.
Okay. I'll pull up. I'm searching February 3rd, 2022, Joe Biden transcript. Looks like, was there anything there? He didn't speak on that day. Do you want to go to the 7th? He spoke on the 7th.
Sure.
All right. And you just give me a paragraph number before I pull it up, and I'm going to read one paragraph. Just give me a number 1 through 10.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Of course, at the top of our agenda today was our united approach to deterring Russia's threats against Ukraine and the longstanding principles of rule-based international order. That's what we spent most of our time talking about. You understand that?
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm saying, do you understand that? Like, do you understand what he's saying?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, now I need you to pick a date for Trump. So that's going to be any time
while he's president?
Yeah, so any time from whatever, January 21st until now.
March 12th.
Okay. And then if we have a transcript from that day, great. Let's see. Okay, we have one from the 12th. And then give me a paragraph number. 1 through 10.
1 through 10. Let's do the same thing. 4.
All right, let's just see.
And what is this?
I can't tell you what it's about. It's like I didn't tell you on the last one.
Like, where are you finding these transcripts?
I'm just Googling them. We have transcripts of everything he does. 1, 2, 3. Okay, shit. The 4th paragraph.
What's the website called?
These are audio clips. That was on roll call. Those are audio clips. Let me find transcript library. This is from CNN. What day did you say? March 12th?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make this fair. Is there a transcript there? It's harder to find than I expected. Is this one going to give it to me? It's giving to me each one. All right, I'll just read. I'll say that each comment he makes is every 4 sentences is a paragraph. We're just gonna have to do some guessing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're gonna go to 12, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. Nobody else gets it, right? But it's a hell of a name. Despite that, he's very successful at what he does, which is politics, and he's a great guy. Thank you, Guy. We have come together to this beautiful White House this evening for the annual Shamrock Ceremony, a living symbol of the long and unique friendship between the Americans and the Irish. And we're always going to have that friendship, just like we have a great friendship. We'll always have that very special friendship. This wonderful tradition dates back to 1952, when the first Irish ambassador to the United States sent President Truman a box of shamrocks as a gesture of goodwill. Do you hear that, Walsh? You're not the first. I don't know what you are. What number are you? Do you have any idea? It's been a long time, right? Let's see. I could figure it out pretty easily. The bond between our nations is the old America itself, and it is as old as our country. So many Irish volunteers risked their lives in the American Revolution, and George Washington described Ireland as, quote, the friend of my country and my country's most friendless day, meaning Ireland stuck with us when we were not doing so well, when it was looking pretty bad. Irish heritage gave us the boldness of Andrew Jackson. I didn't know Andrew Jackson was Irish. The brilliance of F. Scott Fitzgerald, Henry Ford, and Walt Disney, and the leadership of the great late President Ronald Reagan. Pretty coherent, right?
I mean,
come on, man. That's gibberish. It's gibberish. The fuck is he talking about?
He's talking about the. I mean, he does like
just let me
ad lib a lot. Like,
yeah, and it doesn't make sense. Let me give you the ad lib again, real quick. Let me give you the ad lib part again, the part that he's obviously not reading, and you tell me what he means by this. And we're always going to have that friendship, just like we have a great friendship. We'll always have that very special friendship. This wonderful tradition dates back to 1952, when the first Irish ambassador to the U.S. sent Truman a box of shamrocks as a gesture of goodwill. Do you hear that, Walsh? You're not the first. I don't know who you are. What number are you? Do you have any idea? It's been a long time, right? Let's see. I could figure this out pretty easily. The bond between our nations as the old America itself, and it is as old as our country. So many Irish volunteers risked their lives in the American Revolution. That's gibberish. That's absolute gibberish. The guy is
I could understand what you were saying.
So this is my
contention about the
This is my contention that Donald Trump.
This isn't.
Hold on. This mic. Hold
You
on.
know this is
Hold on.
disingenuous
Hold on.
because you know
Hold
the
on. Let me get
gaps
it
I'm
out.
talking about with
Let me get
each
it out.
one.
Let me get it out. Let me get it out.
You're just.
Let me get it
I
out.
mean, you're just.
Shh. Let me get it out, and then you can respond. Okay. My contention.
Okay, go ahead.
My contention is that Donald Trump speaks very confidently, and it's gibberish, but people don't recognize it as gibberish because he doesn't stutter or stammer over his words. It's an optics thing. Joe Biden, even when he stammers and stutters, the ones you're talking about, I still know what he's saying. It just took him a while to get there because he would get lost. He'd forget what word he was going to say. I do that sometimes too. But Donald Trump just speaks. It's fluid, so it comes off. But every single time, like even that last quote I gave you when we talked about 2028, everybody that reads something Donald Trump says, you have to then interpret what the fuck he was talking about. And you'll see this anytime you hear somebody asking a Republican, they're like, here's what Donald Trump said. They always are like, it's probably out of context. What he means to say. J.D. Vance, every time he speaks, he's like, what Donald Trump meant to say. He's fucking dumb. He's really fucking dumb, but he's confident and he's rich, so nobody realizes that he's really fucking dumb.
Yeah, they're. I'm just going to go based off of
optics.
And
yeah.
Joe Biden's mumbling was and his some of his rambling was a lot worse than Trump's. Now Trump does have some moments where he
hold on though. Wait, hold
the
on.
same thing.
Hold on though.
But
wait, hold
Biden's
on. Go
is worse. I mean, but you can't blame Biden because he's had strokes and come on, bro.
I want to ask
you do the same thing. You got mad at me for doing the same thing, and now you're interrupting me when I'm trying to talk.
I'm not interrupting you to try to. I'm asking you a question.
You're just
brother, chill. I'm asking you a question.
This is getting old, bro.
I know.
You're just
I'm asking you. I'm asking you a question about something that you just said because I want to make sure we're on the same page. When you say Joe Biden's stammering was worse, like Joe Biden was worse than Trump, are you saying it sounded worse or the words were more incoherent?
It sounded worse.
So we agree. That's what I'm saying. That's why I stopped you right there because I want to make sure we're saying the same thing. I agree that Joe Biden's hold on. When Joe Biden speaks and he stuttered, it was uncomfortable for a lot of us. And when Trump does it, he's not necessarily stuttering. I'm just pointing out that Trump is not saying anything. It's nonsense. He just says it more clearly. Joe Biden said things that made sense, but he struggled to say them. I agree with you. I agree that Joe Biden had a harder time getting sentences out. What I'm saying is that Trump's sentences, once they're out, they don't make any fucking sense. It's nonsense.
Dude, Joe Biden, the way he would mix his words, like hold on, let me find one and then we can talk about this one compared to, I agree. Both of them have, Joe Biden's had like some, how many strokes now? So
Zero.
He had you're saying Joe Biden did not have a stroke?
If he had a stroke, we don't know about it.
Bro, he had a stroke in
while he was president?
No, bro, this was before.
Before he was president?
Yes.
Did he? I don't know of a Joe Biden stroke. You might be right.
He had 2 brain aneurysms. Is
that a stroke?
Bro, an aneurysm. Bro, an aneurysm, they're basically the same thing. I mean, your whole body doesn't, I'm pretty a stroke is a little different, but a brain aneurysm, that doesn't affect your speech?
So in 88? Well, the thing is, that was in 1988, and then after that, he spoke fine.
No, he had some more. He had, let's see. I want to say he had 2. I know he had one when he was in the 80s. And then...
And of course, he had a stutter all growing up, right? Oh, it was a stroke. They are calling it a stroke in 88. I could show you a lot of clips in the 90s of Joe Biden speaking. It sounded a lot different than he did as president. Then he had sleep apnea, it looks like. Yeah, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean he's had some brain injuries, so I mean, you know, getting old plus your brain injury. I mean, I could understand him. You know.
Yeah, but he still made sense.
I mean, they're
That's the
both
point.
older.
You're not addressing the fact
Not
that
really,
when
dude. Some of his stuff just did not make sense at all.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, fine. Let's pull up a clip.
Do we agree that what Donald Trump said there doesn't make any fucking sense?
Yeah, when he talks, he some of his ad-libbing does not make sense.
Okay, do you think isn't that concerning that a human being who is elected to the highest office in this country, a lot of times when he doesn't speak from a teleprompter, it makes no fucking sense and nobody ever
Did
talks.
you make the same argument when Biden was president?
Hold on, and nobody ever.
I'm guessing you didn't.
Hold on, and nobody ever addresses it. I did, dude. I covered when Joe Biden
People
made
talk
that.
about Trump's
be quiet.
gas all the
Be
time.
quiet. No, they don't. Not this. Nobody ever talks about the fact that every time Donald Trump's not on a teleprompter, he doesn't make any fucking sense. His sentences make no fucking sense. He cannot complete coherent sentences. He's just confident, and then all the people around him go out in front of a microphone later and they tell you what he really meant. That's alarming for the president of the United States to require interpreters, and he's speaking English. Why do we always have to interpret what he says?
Let's see. You want me to play one?
I don't think you can tell me what it is because I don't think it'll play from your end, but I can play it on my end. What is he saying?
Let me find a short one.
We can just search Joe Biden gaffe.
Yeah, funny gaffe.
All right, let's here's the top 10 worst.
And back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use if
you probably can't hear that, right? Let me share it. Could you hear that or no?
No, I couldn't hear it.
All right, I think I have to share it again real quick. Give me 1 second. All right.
use pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today,
I want to ask you about your relationship with the black voter. I think it's fair to say, in order for you to go over the top in November, you are going to have a large black voter turnout to put you over the line to victory.
Look, we get it. Biden is known to stutter. And
oh my God. Just give me the fucking, I don't need the commentary. I thought that was just going to give me the top 10. It's 2024. That's
By the way,
there's a short one at the top.
What are you on YouTube? Here we go.
Yeah, I was on YouTube.
Let's just go to his debate. Can we agree on that? That's the one that ended his presidency, basically, the debate, right? You want to do that one?
I mean, we can. I don't really remember any from the debate, but it was so long ago. I don't.
All right,
remember.
you just tell me if you know what he's saying here, okay?
Make sure that all those things we need to do.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
All right.
Make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
So what happened there?
I mean, he just checked out for a minute.
He forgot what policy he was talking about, right? The name of the policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did everything before he forgot the name of the policy make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so if I know the name of the policy there, I can figure out what he's saying, right? I mean, I can play it again for you.
I mean, are we talking about? I mean, I wasn't talking about you couldn't understand somebody. I was just saying his gaps are worse than Trump's. They sound worse than Trump's.
Okay,
Trump goes on Trump just goes on and on and on and on and on, and some of his shit doesn't make sense.
All right, you tell me. Okay, let me play this one from Trump. Then you tell me what the fuck this means.
The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the airport.
What was that? Man the what?
Sound like you said ramparts, but I don't know.
Let's try it again.
I can't understand.
Our armies rammed the Amperts. He's reading this, by the way. You should be able to read. Let's keep going.
The airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Airports.
What was your favorite airport in the Revolutionary War? What airport was the best American airport in the Revolutionary War, would you say? Yeah, see, right? Like, so Biden forgot the name of a policy that he explained.
There's others, dude. I mean,
Okay, give them to me. But tell me what's worse than this. Show me something worse than this. This guy has lost his fucking mind forever ago, and he was dumb to start with.
Dude.
Just show me something
Yeah,
worse.
Bro, I'm not a Trump supporter, bro.
I didn't ask you if you're a Trump supporter. I asked you to show me something worse. You're making the argument. No. Wait, hold on. You're making the argument that Biden was worse. And so far, Biden looks better. What do we do about this? You're not a Trump supporter, but you live in this fake reality where Donald Trump isn't a crazy person who was dumb to start with.
Bro?
What's that?
Are you done, bro?
That was the end of my sentence, yeah.
Okay, let me look it up here.
Thank you. Are you going to respond to that or no?
That you think I'm a Trump supporter?
I don't think you're I didn't that's not what I said. So let me try it again. I don't know if you're a Trump supporter or not, but you live in the reality that's been this fake reality in this country that we live in, where Donald Trump is just like every other politician, but he speaks his mind. He's not. He's a crazy person. He's always been
I live in the reality
person.
that our country is fucked and there's nothing that nobody can do about it.
Well,
that's the reality I live in.
That sounds like you just gave up, is what it sounds like. You don't want to do any research and figure out how to fix things. It sounds like you just want to be the person who comes in and says exactly what I accused you of being like, it's actually both sides. It's just a lazy. Hold on.
There's
Just
no
hold
that.
on. It's just a lazy way for you to feel like the smartest person in the room. That's what I accused you of in the chat.
And you've kind of and still not pay the debt.
Brother, just wait till the end of my sentences. It does nobody. It doesn't help
You've
anybody.
been cutting me off all day, bro. Suck a giant fat cock.
And then we don't scream over each other, and then I stop or you stop. So
no, you've been cutting me off all day, bro.
Do you want me okay, great.
All day.
Great.
All day, bro.
Okay, when you're done, let me know.
Why you quit being? Why are you not friendly, man?
I'm friendly.
Why you not friendly, bro?
I'm friendly.
Are you friendly, bro?
I don't think anybody cares about this conversation. Can we get back to the conversation?
Well, my view is, and I'm gonna have to get off here soon. But my view is
you're not responding to what I said, but I don't give a fuck.
It doesn't matter.
Shut the fuck up. You have to respond to the things I say.
Nigger, bitch, retard, fuck you, bitch.
That's about what I thought. Yeah, you were just a racist piece of shit the whole time. That's what I thought. Every fucking time you ask him questions, and there it goes. There it goes. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Every time. Every fucking time. They just want to be racist. That's why they like him. That's why all you guys like Donald Trump, because he gives you permission to just be a racist piece of shit. I've done the research. George Bush did actually enact the Emergency Economic Recovery Act, but Obama's economic cabinet was literally composed of the same people from Harvard, and they did it too. Yeah. But that's not what he said, right? Perfect. Shocked, huh? Insert shocked Pikachu face. Every fucking time. I'm not a Trump supporter. Sure you're not, bud. Sure you're not. All right, what time is it? I probably have some comments to read. Let me catch up here. Fuck Donald J. Trump said, Trump corruption, no evidence accepted. Dems corruption, no evidence necessary. Oh, dude, that's perfect. We should make that a t-shirt. Zero said, callers pretending losing a nail is the same as losing a hand. Sure, both would hurt, but one is clearly worse than the other. Amy said, you can see every penny Dems get. They show their taxes. Where's Trump's taxes? Lee said, words matter. RG said, for the hysterical little bitch. Pushpop said, pay in real time. Paying RTP to talk. Tony said, so grateful for the information you provide. Burned Out Medic said, paid. Amy said, Biden and Dems negotiated with Republicans and passed record amounts of bipartisan legislation to help the lower and middle class. Amy's the greatest fact checker of all time. Lisa said, dollar train. Lee said, love learning every day. Thanks. Amy said, there's a reason folks in red states die on average 10 years younger than in blue. I think I might have read that one earlier, but good reminder. check here. I think I have some from Jen too. Paul says, fuck, it's a good reminder. I need to cancel my Nintendo subscription. Paul, I don't see a message there. Didn't come up, but thank you very much. And Jen, oh, you dragged me back over. Robert said, doing my part. RTP rocks. Thank you. Christy said, paying you to talk. Pink said, here's your payment for saying the smart words with your face hole. I'll read that John Kerry thing in a minute. I'm not sure. Oh, thanks. I really needed. Here was what he was talking about with John Kerry. So fact check. U.S. climate envoy John Kerry says it's a stupid lie that he regularly takes private jets around the world. I don't know. I don't know if him saying that's enough for me. I don't know if I trust John Kerry. What does he say though? They're not an honest broker. Can I show you actually my favorite? While we're talking about John Kerry, I want to show you my favorite John Kerry moment. And it kind of sucks. I hate to do this because it's Thomas Massey, who we kind of like right now for a minute. But I don't know if you guys remember this. This is my favorite Republicans don't like science moment of all time. Let's see. Republicans in the chat will probably find that they probably think that Massey makes a good point here. But
Secretary Kerry, I want to read part of your statement back to you. Instead of convening a kangaroo court, the president might want to talk with the educated adults he once trusted to fill his top national security positions. It sounds like you're questioning the credentials of the president's advisors currently, but I don't think we should question your credentials today. Isn't it true you have a science degree from Yale? What's that?
Bachelor of Arts degree.
Is it a political science degree?
Yes, political science.
So how do you get a Bachelor of Arts in a science?
Well, it's liberal arts education and degree. It's a bachelor.
Okay, so it's not really science. So I think it's somewhat appropriate that somebody with a pseudoscience degree is here pushing pseudoscience in front of our committee today. I want to ask you...
Are you serious? I mean, this is really serious happening here?
You know what? It is serious. You're calling the president's cabinet a kangaroo court. Is that serious?
I'm not calling his cabinet a kangaroo court. I'm calling this committee that he's putting together a kangaroo committee.
What are you saying, that he doesn't have educated adults there now?
I don't know who it has yet because it's secret.
Well, you said it in your testimony.
Why would he have to have a secret analysis of climate change?
Let me ask you.
Why does the president
let's
need
get back
to keep
to the
it
science
secret?
of it. Let's get back to the science of it.
But it's not science. You're not quoting science.
Well, you're the science expert. You got the political science degree.
I don't know if he just found out that day that political science was a thing or like what it is. Start off, you got a science degree? Yeah.
Look, let me ask you this. What's the consensus on parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere?
About 406 today.
Okay.
By the way, this gets better. I promise you this gets better.
406. Are you aware?
350 being the level that scientists have said is danger.
Okay. Are you aware? 350 is dangerous. Wow. Are you aware that since mammals have walked the planet, the average has been over 1,000 parts per million?
Yeah, but we weren't walking the planet. Let me just share with you that we now...
Those weren't humans, right? Like, it's been higher before. Yeah, but there weren't humans.
I know that definitively at no point during the past 800,000 years has atmospheric CO2 been as high as it is today.
The reason you chose 800,000 years ago is because for 200 million years before that, it was greater than it is today. And I'm going to submit for the record.
Yeah, but there weren't human beings. I mean, there was a different world, folks. We didn't have 7 billion people.
So how did it get to 2,000 parts per million if we humans weren't here?
Because there were all kinds of geologic events happening on Earth which spewed up.
Did geology stop when we got on the planet?
Mr. Chairman, this is just not a serious conversation.
Your testimony is not serious. I agree.
My favorite part is, did geology stop? Nah, dude, there were volcanoes. It was a whole different world, and there weren't humans. Geology. I think he thinks geology maybe is causing climate change. Yeah. That's a good point, Chaz. I like that. Humans are so narcissistic they can't imagine themselves as the cancer. Yeah, he thought he was cooking. He got laughed out of that. That was the Thomas Massey of old. We do like the current Thomas Massey a little bit better. Asa Sophia said, all those silence that the guest had was a dead giveaway. He was spiraling inside and these deep sights. Classic RTPW from Diet Pepsi. I don't even want to win. Like, honest to God, I just want these people to have a conversation, and I want them not to lose their fucking minds and scream racial slurs on their way out. It's a pattern. It happens every time. People ask why we don't take guests all the time. That's kind of why. Because it just got to be the same point. When people don't have answers to questions, they just scream racial slurs. They're like, actually, I'm just a bigot. Susan said for the goal, wasn't me, said guest has a PhD in obnoxiously loud and wrong. He did have an advanced degree in obnoxiously loud and wrong. Did I miss anything else? Here. Oh, I read that one from Paul. Jen, did I miss anything? I think we're over time now. Did I miss any?
Yeah, hold on. I think a memo just came in.
While they're going, for anybody who decides to come up here another time, I just want to be clear. I will absolutely tell you to shut up, and I will talk over you when you try and change the subject. I've done this long enough that I know when Trump supporters get stuck, they just change the subject. And I don't do that. I don't have time for that. I've already heard that. I've already done the whataboutism shit, so we don't do that. And that's why. I missed 51. Do you want to read that, Jen?
Yeah, thank you for, this is from Rachel. Thank you for your incredibly difficult and important work.
Thank you.
Mary said for a win. So yeah, and guys, I see people in the YouTube comments. The things he's reading, they're donations people send. He's not going to debate you from the comments.
Yeah, you got to come up here to have that discussion, and we welcome you. All right. Back to we're still doing Wednesdays with Admir, right? Still on Wednesday.
That's the plan.
All right. I'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time. I got to check on Thursday. There's something weird with where there's parent-teacher conferences this week. So I don't know if I have to help with lunch on Thursday. If I don't have to help with my kids' lunch on Thursday, then we'll have a show. But I need to double check that. Danielle, did I read yours earlier? I might have. Let me look for them. Was it a super chat, Danielle? I don't see you on super chat that I know of. Let me scroll down.
If you scroll through our chat, I
yeah.
shared them all over there. So.
Do you see one from Danielle?
Let's see. I feel like I remember one, but I'm not positive.
Are you tapping on a wooden stick?
Me? No, it's my mouse.
That's your mouse?
That's my mouse. I super speed roll. So Danielle, yeah, Trump's greatest achievement was exposing the GOP. They removed their mask and have embraced their true selves. MAGA values are the true GOP values.
I think I read that, but it might have been in my head. Sorry if I didn't read that out loud. It wouldn't be the first time. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Jamie Lynn said, Jen's awesome. I put the 60 Minutes in the current news on Discord. Okay, I'll check that out right now. Everybody else, just make sure you're following us. And then next week, we will be doing our members-only event Monday night, probably 6 Pacific Standard Time. It'll probably be about 2 hours long. I'm going to announce what we're doing on Friday. It'll be a series. But make sure that you're a paid member either on YouTube, TikTok, or Twitch, and we'll get you in there for those member-only events. We do a Q&A after as well. And then I owe you some extra time for Friendly Friday since I missed you guys this last Friday. Other than that, Mods, great job today. Chat, great job today. Donald Trump, bad job today. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time right here on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch, or wherever you're currently watching. The replays are available on YouTube and Spotify, so you can catch them there. Other than that, folks, take care of yourselves. Stay cute and cool. and have just an unbelievably great summer.